Press is absolutely essential.
Here's what bothered me about the last election. I could not believe we were fighting each other over these idiots.
You guys do get that we get a new idiot in 4 years, right?
Outlaw Radio Network.
In spite of all that I've seen, I have great hope for the future, and certainly great hope for America.
And what started here will indeed have changed the world for the better.
On a recent episode of the Outlaw Radio Network,
Some of our listeners even appreciated you dumbing it down for them. So, on behalf of
sometimes
all,
I have to
thank you.
mansplain for people like. By the way, mansplaining is when men explain things to a woman in a condescending tone. I just mansplaining.
at the Outlaw Radio Network Sunday nights at their new time from 6 to 10.
Outlaw Radio Network.
Admin a la carte are specialized local experts committed to helping you run your small business. From general admin and sales support to marketing, digital media and technology to real estate and compliance, Admin a la carte's only goal is to take your business to the next level. Find out how Admin a la carte can elevate your business. Visit admin-alacarte.com for more information. That's admin-alacarte.com. Admin a la carte. Your business doesn't fit into a box. Why should you have to?
Are you ready to elevate your spirits? Look no further than Black Rain Spirits, your local craft distillery nestled in Town Square Mall. Indulge in the smooth richness of our handcrafted spirits, meticulously distilled to perfection. Whether you prefer the bold kick of our bourbon or the subtle sophistication of our gin, Black Rain Spirits has something for every palate. Visit us today at Town Square Mall and experience the essence of true craftsmanship. Black Rain Spirits, where passion meets perfection, unconventionally traditional.
Never give in. Never give in. Never, never, never. In nothing, great or small, large or petty, never give in except to convictions of honor and good sense. Never yield to force. Never yield to the apparently overwhelming might of the enemy.
You're listening to the Outlaw Radio Network. OutlawRadioNetwork.com.
This country can't be knocked out with one punch. We get right back up again, and when we do, the world's going to hear the roar of our engines.
But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
You do your work, and we will do our bit.
Republic. I like the sentiment of it. It means people can live free, talk free, go or come, buy or sell, be drunk or sober, however they choose.
Are you ready to be who you are?
No poetry, just a straight answer.
The government has deliberately sought to deceive the United States by false statements and expressions of hope for continued peace.
We are men of the hood, Mary, now you're explaining.
But there's no both sides anymore. They're just trying to wreck our goddamn country. It's time for you younger guys to take over.
You meant to be here tonight. This is your time. Their time is done. It's over. Screw them. This is your time. Now go out there and take it.
If you guys don't start thinking as men, we're gonna have a lousy country.
For the crimes of incitement to cause unrest, I declare to be an outlaw.
All right, everybody. It is the Outlaw Radio Network for the 28th of September, 2025. K-Dog, Black Tom. What up, buddy? High five. Look, we got the Mariner City Connect jersey on because the Mariners start the playoffs next weekend because they got the bye. We'll brag about that in the third hour. Seahawks 3-1. We'll brag about that in the third hour. Now, people like ESPN are saying the Hawks are going to win the West. We'll talk about that in the third hour. Paul's here, and he'll be with us in just a couple of moments as well. We have a little spot right here, right in the middle there, right in his spot. For those of you that are going to ask where Beeler is, clearly, being this close to K-Dog every night, every Sunday night was just too much for her to handle. I think it just shook her to her bones. It made her body cry out. She's sick. She'll be back with us next week. Feel better, Beals. We have a guest coming on. Houston Hamilton with Save Our Stables will be on in about a half an hour. We're going to talk about some of the challenges that stables and horse owners or whatever are having in regards to some new laws that are being passed and some of the restrictions and all of that. Paul's way more knowledgeable on this stuff than I am, as a guy that's got horses and has a farm and all of that. So Paul is really going to take the lead on that. I'm going to learn along with the rest of you kind of what our horse owners are facing. We'll spend about 20 minutes or so talking with Houston Hamilton with Save Our Stables. Whole bunch of other stuff to go over tonight. I want to open with something. I didn't tell the crew we were going to do this. But I got
surprise.
a message. I got a message. And the message is Karen, who we talked a lot of smack about last week. The city council member for the city of Bremerton, who was totally down with not having any empathy for Charlie Kirker's family, and almost, to me anyway, sounded like she was celebrating his assassination. I got a message that she's taken a lot of threats. And I just want to caution you guys that might be listening to this that are all upset and emotional and angry about the murder of Charlie Kirk, and about how the left has basked in the glow and celebrated it and been happy about it. Some of them saying he got what he had coming. He asked for it. I understand your anger. I really do. And I'm not a Kirker, right? I'm not a guy that was following Charlie Kirk throughout the whole thing before his murder. I knew who he was. I saw some of his TikToks and stuff like that. But
I mostly knew him as being famous for the prove me wrong thing.
Yeah, exactly. But I want to caution you guys, right? Conservatism, as I understand it, is not a conservative, not a Republican, none of that, right? That's not my role. But as I understand it, you conservatives are all about when they go low, we go high. Morally, ethically, we are better than the left. We are better than the garbage. We are better than those that want to incite riots and accuse violence. We're just better people than that. Well, hold on, your mic's still on. Dennis hasn't turned you on yet because you weren't here. So if that's the road that you're going to take, conservatives, if you're going to be the more moral group, the more ethical group, the more Christian group, the more unbiased group, then that means you don't resort to threats. You want to hit Karen, you hit her at the ballot box when she's up for re-election. You hit her on Thursday night at the Bremerton School Board meeting when you show up to voice your concerns. Not in a hateful, angry way towards her as a person, but about her words and her policies and what she stands for. You ask the school board to censor her, which really doesn't carry any weight, but it does show her that the school board does not echo her sentiments. You rally people around your cause. So when it's time to vote for that school board seat in 2028, I believe is when it is, that she knows that hell's coming at the ballot box. We don't need to resort to threats of violence because other people celebrated violence. It's not who we're supposed to be as Americans. And it's not what I expect from conservatives and from Republicans who claim to have the higher moral ground. So if you do, then I expect you to respond accordingly. And I detest what Karen said. I honestly was hoping she was up for re-election for her seat in this year. She's not. But it would have made me feel happy if she was, because then we could just trounce her ass out of her elected office and send her back to obscurity where she belongs. But threats of violence against anybody is not who we are. It is not who Kirk wanted you to be. It is not what the foundation of this nation was set up to be. So don't be that. Rise yourself above that and hit them where it hurts. Where's it going to hurt the liberals? At the ballot box, at fundraising, at community events, at organizing, at reaching our youth. That's where it's going to matter. So I really want to implore, beg of you to stand up higher and be better than the left that has celebrated what this is. That's all. Paul?
Okay. Can I ask?
Yeah.
Who, what, where, when, why, now? Like, you're talking about conservatives threatening Karen Bass, I think is her last name, right?
I don't know what her last name is. So, yeah.
Well, you should know. I mean, you dropped the gauntlet.
Karen. If you know her last name, put it in chat. I just forgot her last name. I don't care enough.
Well, I mean, I think you have that problem with every woman, but
I just call her Karen. Would fit. But go ahead.
Here's the thing: the stuff that you're talking about.
Yeah.
What?
So
what did
I'm not going to
miss?
out who told me because I'm not trying to out anybody. But I got a message from a conservative.
Okay.
That frequents the show.
Okay.
They sent me a message that said, "Hey, there's a lot of threats being made about Karen, and I don't think that's the way we should be behaving. And since me, K-Dog the Great, was so loud about her last week, I wanted to come back and just recertify that, because it's not the liberals threatening her."
Well, so what did you see? You went and looked.
No.
I know you went and looked.
No, I did
You
not go
just-
look. I didn't
so
have
you-
time to go look. I know I trust this person wholeheartedly for what they told
I'm
me.
not saying this person is wrong, lying, or anything else, but
And if Bolton,
context,
Karen Bolton,
context is super, super hard, right?
Yeah.
To put out there, and
Sure.
so if we haven't read the things that were said, like where they were said, where they said on Facebook, you know, where were they said?
Right.
Where
I don't
were they
know.
said?
I don't know.
Okay.
And listen,
So we don't know what was said or where
we
it was
don't.
said.
All I know is the person told me there's a lot of threats that are being made to her. I believe it, given the state of our political.
But why?
discourse.
Well, I guess I'm trying to get though is why are you assuming they're conservatives?
Because the liberals are not going to threaten another liberal for celebrating the murder of Charlie Kirk.
Okay, fair. No,
Yeah.
that's good.
So I would believe it would have to be a Republican / conservative.
But what kind of threats?
I don't know. I don't know.
I love you. I
No,
do. I
hold
love
on. I
you.
understand what you're saying.
Okay.
All I heard is that threats were being made.
Okay.
Threats of violence, I believe, is what I was told, are being made.
Okay.
And I don't think that's who we should be as a people.
Okay.
I'm assuming it's Republican. This is my assumption that it's Republicans and or conservatives that are doing it, because liberals are not going to threaten another liberal over the murder of Charlie Kirk.
I think that's a
glee
fair
about it.
presumption on your part. I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah.
But let me ask.
But
you
I just
this.
felt like I need.
Let me ask you this. What I'm trying to understand is, so you have a secret person,
yes,
whose name we're not going to put
I'm
out.
not going to out them. That's
who gave you information that you haven't seen or vetted.
Right.
That threats were made. We don't know by whom. We're assuming that it was conservatives that made threats of bodily harm or something.
Beeler said I'm wrong. She said a lot of liberals are up in arms about it. I that would be a surprise to me.
Well, I would ask Alicia then to provide that. The same
Beeler,
thing
why
I'm
are you not
asking.
in studio? You're listening to the show. You said my voice was going to hurt your already bad ear, and yet you're listening to the show to the
Well,
sound of my amazing voice.
She heard I was going to be in tonight.
I
She
think she
didn't need the
just can't
competition.
handle sitting right next to me and feeling all the butterflies and stuff. But whatever.
Okay, but the point is still the same.
Yeah.
And so I'm just trying to understand, you know, where you're coming from or who said what. Like I said, there's a whole lot of information that's been left out there. I can appreciate where you're coming from with what you're saying, but I can appreciate it if you had seen those threats.
Yeah.
So
if I'd had time to go look, I would.
Yeah. And so what I feel like we're doing is we see, and we're critical of a lot of journalists on mainstream news when they say things like what? Like, how do you feel that people say, bleh, right? Like it is very, it leaves a lot open to interpretation.
Yeah.
Because we don't really know what the status is or what was said. So whoever was feeding the information to Kevin, I would ask you very politely to private
PM me
message
some
him.
links.
Yeah,
PM me some
exactly,
links.
exactly. Because
Although, hold on,
it's hard to really place any of it in context without knowing what it was and what was said.
So Rick has given me permission to say that Rick was one that fed that to me. So I'm going to read what he said to me earlier today. Rick,
Okay.
I hope that's okay.
Okay.
Can you repeat tonight what you said last week about anyone who wants to disagree with Karen to do so the right way and peacefully, please? I'm being told that she's getting threats, not necessarily local, but every statement for nonviolence helps. And then he was told by someone he trusted that the threats were received to her via email, but that he wasn't told by whom. And look,
Okay, so let me
Go ahead,
finish
go
that.
ahead.
If I'm understanding him correctly, he's saying he was told the threats were sent to Karen by email.
That he believes it was by email. He trusts it was by email.
Yeah. I absolutely love and appreciate Rick, and I have a great deal of faith and trust in him. But I'm going to say this: we've been doing this far too long. So when somebody tells me that they're receiving threats by email and they're not making those threats public, I call bullshit. I'm not willing to accept that.
Oh, you think maybe Karen is making it?
I'm making it up, flat out, making it up. Yeah. And look, maybe she's not, but I think it's a greater chance that she's making it up in order to do what?
She blocked
gain
me,
sympathy.
She blocked me.
Of course she did.
What a chicken.
But she's trying to gain sympathy. She is a politician and a race baiter at that. And all you have to do is go through the article that was written about her a few years earlier by the Bremerton Sun. She is a race baiter from top to bottom. And I don't know anything about her as a person. All I know is what's been written publicly and her own public statements. This is a woman I would not give credit to for anything. For anything. She is out there looking for people to sympathize with her because of the color of her skin. And I have zero respect for that.
Yeah.
And this is nothing against Rick, because I have no doubt that Rick was told that. But my response is, Rick, you got to look past that, bud. You have to look past that. If somebody's not willing to put the information out there and prove that these things are being said, it's bullshit. I don't believe, and I refuse to even acknowledge its existence if she's not going to put the information out, because this is a woman who made the most ridiculously absurd statements and is trying to, or has been trying to, I don't even want to say walk them back without walking them back. You can't believe anything that a person in her situation says. You can't. She's got it. Every single word that she says has to be proven. It's that simple.
So let me say this really quick.
Yes.
Beeler said that a lot of liberals are upset. Yes, a lot of liberals are upset as well, but I don't think the liberals are going to threaten another liberal. I just don't think so. And by the way, the threats of liberals do not scare me generally. What are they going to do? Throw rocks at me? No, and listen, Paul, my response to everything you said is that you're not wrong. But I would just say this, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're not making threats, then let what I say roll off of you and don't feel attacked by it.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you're a conservative and you haven't made any threats, you don't know anybody that's making any threats, and guess what? Okay, K-Dog had a public service announcement. Let me move along.
Well, and
but if you're a conservative,
by the way,
Republican, or even a liberal,
it doesn't make you wrong.
Right.
The fact that I believe this entire line is BS doesn't make you wrong. Your point still stands.
Yeah, and I'm just saying, if it apply, I used to tell this to my kids when they didn't like the woman that I was dating.
Don't pay attention to her booby size. Just look at her butt.
But what I would tell her is, they didn't like her, so whatever she says, you take in what's appropriate, you filter it out, and you crap out the rest.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Hold on. So you take in what's appropriate,
yeah.
You see if any of it applies, and you crap out the rest. And that's the same thing with this. If you're a politically minded person and you aren't doing any of this stuff, well, then guess what? You're already above the curve, and you're great. But if you are sitting behind your keyboard and you're making threats,
which a lot of people do nowadays,
then you need to reevaluate your life and figure out why mommy and daddy didn't love you enough.
Can you imagine, Kevin? Let's take a deep breath. Can you imagine being so incensed that you celebrate the murder of a man in front of his wife and children?
Well, first of all,
I cannot fathom that.
I want to clear this up. Erica Kirk did clarify yesterday that her and the kids were not there.
Oh, well, that's actually good to know.
They were in Arizona.
It doesn't change the hideousness, but it's good to know, because I had been told that they were there.
I had been told,
which made me feel just sick to my stomach for them.
She came out yesterday and said that they were not. They were at home in Arizona, and she flew immediately.
Okay. Well, you can't blame her for that.
No.
And let me clear up another. There's people make up the most hurtful, disgusting stuff about conservatives. Have you seen the latest one that's been made up? And I've been seeing people passing this along in Facebook like it's eye candy. Is that they're claiming that Erica Kirk made this post that she is come out with this dating site, and at the end of the post she says, "And I'm on it."
And I'm on it?
Yes.
Implying
that she's dating.
Oh.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's absolute disgusting. And there's people that you and I know that are reposting it like it's gospel.
Oh, I know.
And it just, my mind.
Do you know this whole thing with the Kirk murder has taught me? Like two radically different things.
Okay.
One is that we are a society of people who want to love, of people who want to care for each other and nurture each other and take care of each other and rally around each other and love on each other. Conversely, I've also learned that we are a society of horrible sycophants who want to poke at people and prod at people and kick people when they're down. And I don't know how to reconcile the two.
I gotcha.
You know what I mean? Like we have, again, I was at my 9:30 service this morning at church. And I got there about 10 minutes late, which is really rare for me. I'm usually 5 minutes early.
You're always early. You're on Bear Bryant time.
Always.
Always.
Yeah. But I got there 10 minutes late today because it took me longer to get my sugar-free hot cocoa. Jesus understands. And I couldn't find a place to park. And if you know my church, we have a massive parking lot. And I couldn't find a freaking place to park because we had that many people.
I know. It's amazing, isn't it?
We were stuffed to the gills. Now,
canonize Charlie Kirk, baby. Canonize Charlie Kirk.
Well, but this is not about Kirk.
I'm just saying because people are going back to church. That's all.
This is not about church. Sorry. This is about what our nation has felt called to do.
Mm-hmm.
Kitsap County in 2013 was rated the number 7 least churched county in the nation.
Yeah, I could believe that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Kirk gets murdered, and we have seen an influx, not just at our church, but we talked to TJ McConaughey, a pastor who used to pastor at my church. He's now down in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying the exact same thing. Churches are seeing 30 to 40% increases at the doors of people that are coming to church. Why is that? Because we're as a nation, we want to love people. Like I really believe the people on the left that are so messed up in what they believe really believe it in a place of wanting to care for their needs.
Yeah.
You know, now they're doing it wrong, but I think that's really where they're coming from. But conversely, we have a nation of horrible people that kick people when they're down, make people feel bad, take advantage of them, spread lies, gleefully hurt other people from behind a keyboard.
There are. I'm going to tell you how right I think you are. Now, I am not going to break this down. Maybe you were going to break this down like this, but I am not going to say the people that want to love people are all conservatives and the people that want to hate and break people down are all Democrats or not Democrats, but progressive types or leftists. Okay. I'm not going to say that because I've seen people on both sides, right? Like go the opposite direction that you would expect. But I would say that a far larger majority of people on each side are as expected, right? There is a much larger majority of conservatives that would rather spread love. Like I have not, and I freely admit that I have thrown some of my own shade out towards people because of comments and things that they have done as of late with regards to the Kirk murder at all. Like if you are so narrow-minded that you think you need to publicly state for the world that Kirk was a Nazi and he was executed, you're a twisted, demented human being.
Yeah, amen.
You're not okay in the head, and you should seek attention for that.
And you're not educated.
Right.
Like, please crack a book about who the Nazis were.
Right.
I got called a brown shirt last week.
Did you
hear
really?
that? Yeah, I got called a brown shirt because I had been posting.
I've never seen you wear earth tone colors.
I don't. As I mentioned in my post, I don't think I look good in brown.
Yeah.
But I've had people. I had somebody that I've known since high school.
Yeah.
Call me a brown shirt because I supported what Charlie Kirk was doing, and I wasn't supporting his message. I don't believe with anybody 100% about anything, but he was transparent and he was doing. And again, he was doing what our elected officials don't do.
That's right.
He sat on a college campus surrounded by people he didn't know were friend or foe, gave him a microphone, and let him challenge him on everything. Yeah. And God bless him if every time he wasn't asked, at least from the videos that I've seen,
everything he did was videoed. And it was broadcast live when he did it.
Right.
There was no editing, nothing. So when people, I can't stress enough to people, and you know how many people take me up on the challenge when they talk smack? Hey, I challenge you, go find something that proves your point.
They can't.
They never can.
No.
Because that's not who Charlie Kirk was. You can dislike his message. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're entitled to your opinion. So when he says there's only 2 genders, you can disagree with that. But that's not the kind of shit that should lead to a 30-06 bullet hole.
No.
And can I say this? Well, one last thing here, and I know that we'll move on, but there seems to be an unnatural plethora of people into these conspiracy theories about his murder. Y'all should be on a particular type of drug. Really.
Yeah.
The earth isn't flat. We went to the moon. And Charlie Kirk was not assassinated by a lapel bomb.
Yeah.
Okay? Which is the big one. That's what they're saying.
Oh, is that one that's going on?
Yeah,
we're going to talk about
his
fun
lapel mic
theories
blew
later.
up, and that's why this and that and the other.
Yeah.
Like, no.
I heard a great conspiracy about Mount St. Helens. We'll talk about later too.
Oh God, yeah, that one.
That one was great. Yeah.
Hey, you know, I'm gonna have to I'm gonna reconcile that one in my head because I remember my dad when I was a little kid taking me to the roof of my house on 72nd Street up in the fairgrounds. It's one of the highest points in Kitsap County, next to the Green Mountain Complex. Okay, so I'm up by Esquire Hills Elementary on the roof of my house, watching that mushroom cloud. Right, I think I was in the 2nd grade when that thing went off, and I'm like, "There's no way that shit was fake." Okay, I'm just saying. And if you think it was, seek help.
As Rick said, no one who hasn't been to one of the actual concentration camps or at least one of the Holocaust museums should ever call someone a Nazi.
Yes, Rick.
If you have been and still think it's appropriate, that's on them.
Yeah. Rick's 1,000%.
Have you been to one? A Nazi?
So what's interesting
museum,
about
Holocaust museum?
I've not been to the East Coast ever. So I have not been to the Holocaust Museum. However, it is on my bucket list along with Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, the Smithsonian, and a couple other places. Bunker Hill. But my son, I was very open about the fact that he spent last year in Poland training Polish military personnel.
Is Auschwitz in Poland?
That was their first stop when they got off the plane.
Was Auschwitz?
There's a big field next to it where the trains would come in.
Yeah.
They spent the night, the tents and everything. They were there. They spent the night on the grounds of Auschwitz. And he was like, nobody slept, Dad. Nobody slept. Everybody, there was such a massive feeling of uncomfortableness and negative energy. I think we all just sat up all night. It could have been Dachau. It could have been Dachau that they went to. I don't remember, but it was one of the big ones.
Yeah.
And yeah. So anyway, that was just.
Nancy
incredible.
said Kirk wanted to encourage the next generation to share their voice and did so by actually listening to them. He had an amazing ability of listening to them and getting to the bottom line of the message.
When you listen to him talk to a person, and the one big one that's going around now was the young transgender person who was 19 years old. And that the conversation he had with that transgender individual where he said, "Can I ask you to tell us your story?"
Yeah.
It's so thought-provoking and so not what people portray. Right? Like anybody who watches that goes, "Yep, that guy's full of hatred." Like you're not listening to the same person speak I am. I don't honestly understand it. I know it's the world we live in today.
It's the demonization of people who don't agree with you.
Yes.
Like again, he was never going to come around and say, "Boy, transgenderism is a great idea," right? He was never going to say that. Okay? But he was willing to have the conversation and listen respectfully to people. And if you listen to his speeches, he never even raised his voice or pushed back unless they were raising their voice and you know, and then, but he was still respectful all the time. He was still, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So I don't I don't agree with anybody 100% about anything. Okay.
You don't have to preface that, brother. You don't have to.
But I haven't seen a video from him that I thought, boy, this guy's a racist or this guy's he's full of hate or I just can't. And he was prepared for every question, even if he didn't know the questions were coming.
Yeah.
That dude was biblically schooled. Now, a lot of you people out there are probably not Christian, don't know the Bible, don't care, think it's all gibberish. Fine, you can think that. My point is, he studied it, he lived it, he knew it. Now, you know, you can, again, discount it, but he knew what he believed. And I question how many people on the left really know what they believe, can answer with confidence why they feel the way they feel. Because I don't think a lot of them can. Rick cleared up that Dachau is actually in Munich. Auschwitz is in Poland.
Okay.
Listen, one more thing I
appreciate that because I could not for the life of me remember. So thank you, Rick.
Well, I'm planning all these trips with you, Paul. Like it sounds really, really man crush of me to say this. But
listen, I'm going through divorce. I have time now.
I wasn't going to out that.
So I'm an open book. Have I not always been an open book on this show?
You and I need to go to DC.
I would love to.
I did a week in DC in 2018. Saw all the memorials. Totally worth it. I'd love to go do it again. Let's go do it.
Yeah, totally.
You and I can go take a week out. And
Absolutely,
just go do it. Yep. Listen, I gotta say one more thing. I said I was gonna do this last week, so please, Dennis, we're gonna gap the 9:30 just by a minute or two. At the 32-minute mark, Robert Parker, I know you're in here. If Dave McMullen's in here, you guys can just tag this and share this with Michelle Caldier.
May I preface before you say this?
Yeah, go ahead.
What you were about to say. We have friends along. We have. I don't know the quote.
Yeah.
I know what was said in chat. That's all I know. Okay, so but let's put that aside for a second.
Sure.
I as your friend, as your co-host on this show for 26 years, am on multiple levels proud of you for what you're about to say. Because I understand what it takes for you to say it and what you have to bury in order to say it. And that takes courage.
Oh, thanks.
Okay, go ahead.
You're being very nice to me, and I'm not sure what to do with this. Usually when Beeler's here, she's mean.
Well,
so
I mean, at least it's not a Shinerbach and a steak.
I've had I've had a love-hate relationship with Caldeer for the better part of the last almost 15 years. Right, from when she was a frequent guest on the show, we got along, and her and Chris Tibbs were in all the time. We talked to them, we had great conversations with them, and then things went south. I'm just providing context first.
That's right. Yep.
Things went south when we interviewed Randy Boss, who was running against her, and then I was all over Boss like a dog on a bone.
You and the listenership.
Yeah, and then Boss came on the show. And we were normal to him. He's a candidate. We give him respect as a candidate, whether we agree with him or not. We've never gone after anybody who was a candidate, and we weren't about to start with Boss. I mean, I thought Boss had no shot in hell, but whatevs.
Well, turned out he didn't.
No, he didn't. And
you were right.
And then Caldeer lit us up because we were nice to him, you know. And
that's right.
And
I
then,
forgot about that.
And then she made it a bone of contention with us. And two of my daughters had walked in the parade. They were supposed to get paid. They never got paid. I brought it up to Tibbs and Caldeer both. They never paid. To this day, even Caldeer in a message to me has acknowledged they should have been paid, but they didn't get paid. Now it's been too long, so they're not going to get paid, which I think is just total horse crap. And none of how I feel about any of that has changed, right? I still believe all of that. I still believe that she should have been responsible, done what she said she was going to do when she realized an error was made. And none of that's ever going to change. And I'm not going to blow sunshine up anybody's ass and try to portray something that is not authentically me.
Right.
That all being said, I took a lot of shots at Caldeer. I took a lot of shots at Caldeer for her integrity, for her as a human, for her as a politician, for her as a mom, for her as a member of the community, all of that. I was out of bounds. My personal feelings about Caldeer, anybody else, is relatively irrelevant. I have a platform. I have a platform where a lot of people hear the things that we have to say, either in the live feed or what gets shared or what gets relayed around or how people tattle and write emails about, you won't believe what Kevin said about you. And I took some low shots. I'm not proud of it. I'm an emotional dude. What?
Low. It's just low shots.
You made some low shots too. Shut your mouth.
But I always will.
Yeah.
I'll own them.
But so I feel like I don't do a very good job on this show sometimes of navigating the passion that I feel for some things that go on around me and not making them personal.
Mm-hmm.
And that is on me. So to Michelle Caldeer, let me just say a couple of things. My personal feelings towards you have not and will not change. And they won't change until you give $20 to my two daughters who are now adults. One of which, by the way, could use the $20 because she's hooked on fentanyl living on the streets, and that $20 would, buy her some bottles of water, but whatevs. But the personal shots were uncalled for. The questioning the issues with your eyesight that I made were uncalled for.
Mm-hmm.
Shots on your integrity were probably uncalled for. And I was downright mean. And so for that, I apologize. I really wish for Michelle Caldeer the best and that she continues to be a positive representation of Kitsap County where she serves and the people that she serves and the people that resoundingly reelect her to office. And her past challenges are irrelevant because we all have them. I have mine. Paul has his. Everybody but Beeler. She has no past challenges to overcome. She's perfect. But Caldeer could have responded in a way to challenge me on my past flaws and never did it, which means she's probably got more integrity than I do. So one, Michelle. Shut up, Paul.
No, I'm just saying you.
So one, shut up, Paul. So one, Michelle, I apologize for low shots, low hanging fruit, and being a consistent douchewaffle. 2, I thank you for having a little more integrity than me when it comes to personal attacks. I still think you should pay my kids. That'll never change. They could be 80. I could be dead. And in heaven, I'll still be, or hell.
Back when that $20 bills were 3 cents.
I know, back when the rate of inflation. But that doesn't change. But I have a lot of respect for you, Michelle, because you have overcome the side issues. You had a hard life. Like we talked about it on this show. You went through some hard stuff. You've endured some hard stuff. And I don't want to overshadow that. I gave Tara Simmons a lot of props for overcoming a hard life to where she got to. Call Deer deserves that as well, because she overcame a lot of crap to get where she is.
Amen, brother.
In the foster system and all that stuff that she endured, and everything she's tried to do to leave a good impression on the community.
Mm-hmm.
So, Michelle, I'm praying for you. I really do hope that you win.
And you haven't said anything about the fact that, like, I hope you win to help end the Democrats' supermajority. It's like, that's not what you're saying.
No,
you've left that completely out of it.
I'm just saying I hope you win.
Yeah,
I really do, because I believe your politics are better for the people of Kitsap County overall.
Yeah, I think that's it right there. Is it in a nutshell?
Yeah. Me personally, doesn't matter. We play in the short game or the long game. The short game is if I'm selfish and worry about myself and my interpersonal feelings. The long game is what's better for our community. Call Deer is better for the community. So, Michelle, again, I apologize. You're welcome on the show anytime. I'll give you the respect that you deserve. And I mean it. Okay, let's take a break. We come back. We're going to bring Houston Hamilton with Save Our Stables in. Paul is going to lead this discussion because as a guy that's never had a horse, only ridden on a horse a number of times in his life. One of them I got bucked into sticker bushes. I
think it was my ex-wife that put you on a horse for the first time.
In a long time. No, I had been on a horse when I was 12 and got thrown into sticker bushes.
Okay.
And that's why I never got on one again. And then
I still have the picture too.
Yeah. Then your ex-wife was able to get me back on a horse. Yeah. And I didn't die.
It didn't die.
So it was a win.
Amen.
So we'll talk about that. What are the challenges facing the folks that own horses and that have stables? You might be surprised
We're about to find out,
at exactly how much of an issue some things are causing. We'll talk about it next. It's Outlaw Radio Network.
It's all the leftists moving from Seattle, dude. I'm telling you.
Damn the lefties! Back after this.
On a recent episode of the Outlaw Radio Network.
Some of our listeners even appreciated you dumbing it down for them. So, on behalf
sometimes
of
I have to mansplain for people like. By the way, mansplaining is when men explain things to a woman in a condescending tone. I just mansplaining.
At the Outlaw Radio Network Sunday nights at their new time from 6 to 10.
Outlaw Radio Network.
Are you ready to elevate your spirits? Look no further than Black Ring Spirits, your local craft distillery nestled in Town Square Mall. Indulge in the smooth richness of our handcrafted spirits, meticulously distilled to perfection. Whether you prefer the bold kick of our bourbon or the subtle sophistication of our gin, Black Ring Spirits has something for every palate. Visit us today at Town Square Mall and experience the essence of true craftsmanship. Black Ring Spirits, where passion meets perfection, unconventionally traditional.
Admin a la carte are specialized local experts committed to helping you run your small business. From general admin and sales support to marketing, digital media and technology to real estate and compliance. Admin a la carte's only goal is to take your business to the next level. Find out how Admin a la carte can elevate your business. Visit admin-alacarte.com for more information. That's admin-alacarte.com. Admin a la carte. Your business doesn't fit into a box. Why should you have to?
This is Spike Cohen.
This is Jesse Young.
I'm Brandy Cruz, host of the Undivided Podcast.
And you're listening
to my friends on the Outlaw
Radio
Network.
All right, everybody, Outlaw Radio. Thanks for checking out the show. I'm going to acknowledge one thing before we get to our guest. I don't know who Andy Dunn is in the chat. She looks like an Ohio State fan.
Dude, you do not.
That might have
no,
beat the Huskies
no.
yesterday, but it doesn't. Her name doesn't ring a bell.
She does not need the extra props from you. That loss was painful.
I don't know who she is. So welcome to the show. I'm glad that you're checking us out. I think for the first time. And
I'm going to tip my hat to Andy, and I'm
it.
going to leave it at that because she doesn't need the ego increased by telling her clearly how much better her team was, and they were better. They were the better team.
I mean, that first half, man, I wasn't 100% sure about that.
But I agree with you. But they were better at the end of the game. They were better at finishing the game. So they're definitely a class above the Huskies. But the Huskies, I would hope for a national audience, prove they deserve probably a top 15 or so ranking because they played very well against the number one ranked team. Clearly, and I can't say they're clearly that no team is better, but I mean, they clearly deserve a good ranking. Ohio State did so.
Yeah. Again, Andy, I don't know if we've ever met before or who you are, but I'd like to thank you for being a part of the show.
Keep going.
All right, let's go to our guys. I'm going to turn the camera on you, so don't pick your nose or nothing. All right, here we go.
No, don't eat it. Don't just.
Houston Hamilton joins us with Save Our Stables. Save Our Stables.
Say that fast twice.
No, Save Our Stables.
Just SOS.
And really, I'm going to hand this to Paul.
It's
Normally,
a pad.
I kind of drive the interviews. I'm the trained professional, but this really is Paul's wheelhouse as a guy that has had farms and owned horses for many years. And so, Paul, I'm gonna.
Well, listen, I'm gonna. So we've got Houston
Literally,
Hamilton.
He's wanting to give you a high.
Tag me in.
For God's sakes.
Thank
Okay,
you.
good.
God bless it,
All right.
man.
All right, good.
Don't forget to say good game.
We're good.
game.
Right,
Get the,
right.
get the tables, Steve. On. Get the tables.
Amen. Amen. All right. So tonight we're joined by Houston Hamilton. Houston and I have known each other for about 3 years, I think, right? Yeah. About 3 years.
Whenever you moved out next to my farm.
Yep. And he's got a side. I think you're on 20 acres out there, right?
12 and a half.
12 and a half. Well, it's almost 20. I'm Polish. That's how I do math. So he's on 12 and a half acres out there. It's an old veterinary complex where they've got their stable set up and your riding academy, right? That's what you guys are running out there. Is a riding academy, right?
Yes. So I'll pitch that right now.
Yes, please do.
My wife, Jessica Hamilton, JH Eventing, and we are Hamilton Hill Farm, and she runs the schoolyard at Hamilton Hill Farm for lessons. So we it's been picking up ever since I got back from the Sandy and Shooty part of the world. And
the Sandy and Shooty part of the world.
Yeah, that's a story.
Wow, so
that's
kind
a
of
story,
you. Okay.
Story for later. But I'm a man of many hats and not a lot of talent. Not a lot of talents, excuse me. But so we have 12 and a half acres. We run the schoolyard out of there, teaching my wife's students, everyone from beginners to getting up to some pretty high level riders. We train horses, all that kind of jazz. And so this issue is near and dear to my heart, especially as a property owner, a farm owner.
And we're going to take a step back here now that you've introduced, because I want to kind of give a little bit of backstory for people. Now, I believe it is Clark County where they've already instituted laws like what we're about to talk about.
Yes, Clark County did about 5 to 10 years ago.
Yeah. And so let's put a pin in that and set that aside for a second, because that kind of gives us the impression, right? If they pass these laws, this is what it potentially may look like here. And they're starting with Kitsap County, which means they're probably going to move to Pierce County. Like I would suggest that between the Puget Sound counties, right? King, Pierce, Snohomish, Kitsap's where you start with stuff like this because it's the easiest to make things happen.
Yes.
Then you move to either Snohomish or Pierce and then finally King. And as such, they are wanting to effectively implement some laws, which I will let Houston explain here in a second, that make it, well, let's just say very difficult for people to own horses. And this part of the United States has a very high per capita equine ownership rate. It's very high here. A lot of people don't realize that. I didn't until my first marriage. And all of a sudden it was like, oh my gosh, everybody owns horses that I know, right? Or involved with the rodeo or English riding or whatever. And because there's a bunch of different directions you can go. The only thing we don't have here is, cart ponies. But other than that, because Polish people drive those. But the point is that lots of people own horses, and people anywhere from an acre on up own these horses. Houston's on 12 and a half. There's people near us that are on 20 acres with horses, and some have just 1 or 2 and some have 20. This is a big deal. And I'm only giving my impression when I say this, but this is what we're about to get into. And we've seen this with things like where my paintball field is located at the Kitsap Rifle and Revolver Club. People come moving into the area, just like moving in next to an airport, and then
they complain.
Well, the
I don't
airplanes
like
are
the
loud.
airplane noise.
Oh, I don't like living next to a gun range. Bullets fly over my head, right? Like there's all kinds of these complaints that come out, as nonsensical as they may be to an educated individual. And so now we have a situation where with equines, people that I'm not going to say that are on the left moving from the city, but generally that's what we're talking about is people on the left moving from the city to more rural parts of our communities. And now they want to change the laws. They want to change the rules because it's inconvenient for them. So I'm going to turn this over to Houston now and let him kind of give us some of the background and some of the detail on what's going on, and then tell us about Save Our Stables.
Yeah, will do. So it's funny you mentioned that your fields at Kitsap Rifle and Revolver. I believe that organization was at the center of the Kitsap County gun range.
You're correct.
Issue. Yep. And that affected, I think, of the 6 gun ranges in the county, that affected 5 of them.
Yeah, there's only one still open in Paulsbo.
Yeah. And there's also Bremerton.
I don't know anything about Bremerton.
Bremerton Trap and Skeet. They got around it.
Oh,
because,
well, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, you could.
You said skeet.
Well, you'd have to understand what we're talking about with shooting. And I mean, and if you're in the Navy, probably that's all you ever did, right? Is shoot at skeet.
But anyway, so
you're a hateful human being.
What happened? No hate here. So again, Houston Hamilton. I'm the executive director of Save Our Stables. We have some great people who are working on this from all walks of life, from all angles of the spectrum. I mean that politically. And so what happened was a number of counties, Kitsap, Pierce, King, Snohomish, are all going through this thing right now called Year of the Rural, which is designed to, quote unquote, support the rural character of our counties, to save them from development. Now, what one person saving from development is someone else's, you're taking my land.
Mm-hmm.
So part of this is to restructure timberland. Part of this is to restructure agriculture. Part of this in Pierce County is to restructure agritourism. So there's some folks in Pierce County who are dealing with that. But where it comes from on our end as equestrians is how they are basically the code that they want to implement. So they said, we need to have tighter rules. The county, quote unquote, the county planners said we need to have tighter rules on equestrian facilities. And they waited until they had a 60% solution and had a draft code in order to let the public see it. And when they did put it out, it had some pretty horrible stuff in there as far as us as property owners and facility owners. Now they're saying we're only going after commercial facilities. They don't necessarily define that. They keep saying a couple of things. If you're a private only facility, so what you are,
like my house.
Yeah, like your house, then you're not affected. And then they say, oh, you're grandfathered in. Now, I'll talk about the grandfathering issue and where we see with that and what we've seen in Clark County.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Later.
That's what we can look at Clark County, what has happened there over the last several years, and extrapolate that information out.
But for example, some of the bad things in this code are 200-foot setbacks for paddocks. Now, paddock is a field where you keep your horse.
200 feet.
200 feet from any property line. I have 12.5 acres.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm in Pierce County, thankfully, but if my property was to be in Kitsap and this came into effect, I would go from having 12 acres usable, minus the house and the barns and that kind of stuff, to 1.25 acre.
Yeah.
That I would be able to use just because of the
because of those two. Yeah, it takes that 12.5 acre perimeter and shrinks it down to 1.25 acres.
Yes, and then you have in the code propose restriction on horses per acre. So they don't say if that's the overall acreage of the property or if that is just your paddockable acreage. Then they're imposing business hours on us. So they say 8 to 7, I believe.
So let's stop there for a second.
Yeah.
Because what business, or let me ask this question. Are you aware of any other businesses whose hours are dictated other than maybe alcohol serving?
I was going to say the only one I can think of is alcohol or cannabis.
Yeah.
Yeah. As far as I know, there are no other ones.
So they're effectively placing equine ownership into the category of owning a bar or cannabis distillery.
Yes, something like that. And then, of course, with the hours restriction, you get into you can't ride before a certain time. You know, we have people who they go really early and they ride at like 6 a.m.
because it's when they have the time.
That's
to do
when
it.
they have the time, or they ride really late. You know, is it considered business when I have to call a, when I have to call a veterinarian onto the property because
Great
I have a horse
question.
that's having a problem?
Yep.
If that's the case, because they don't define these things,
right?
It's very broadly written. And then part of the setbacks, one of the other things they say is that all farm equipment and horse trailers have to be visually and audibly screened from the neighbors. So I would have to put up fences around pretty much my whole facility, tall fences that you can't see through.
So they can't see the horse trailers?
Yes, they do call out horse trailers specifically in the code.
So if you have farm equipment or horse trailers, you've got to have a privacy fence around.
Any farm equipment, any horse trailers that you have, anything like that, your manure has to be screened. You know, a good property owner is going to make sure that your manure is screened.
Yes.
And that you're disposing of it properly. That's another thing they're saying is proper manure disposal. That's already something that we do.
That's and all good, responsible
Yes.
equine owners do.
Yeah, because you can't let that pile up. It becomes
That's right. That's right. I give all of mine away to people that garden, and I make sure that it all goes into this little ravine, so it washes down into this really nice, beautiful pond. That's a joke, people. That's a joke.
Okay, for legal reasons.
I was going to
that's a
ask,
joke.
is that allowed? I didn't think that was allowed.
No, that's not.
Sense of humor.
For legal
Y'all went to the
reasons,
left
that's-
on me. Okay.
That's a joke.
Yeah.
Before it gets too far
Yeah.
along in our chat here, there is a question.
Yeah.
Does any of this have any effect on cattle?
So I am,
or do you think this is a segue?
I think that it could lead to affecting on cattle. So now part of the issue in Kitsap County is there's no agriculture definition. There's no agricultural zoning.
Okay.
So it's all rural zoning.
Okay.
I am not an commenter. I apologize. I don't have an answer for you on that. But if you reach out, I'm one of the admins on the Save Our Stables Facebook page. You can reach out to me there, direct message, Houston Hamilton. I think my profile picture is the one that
we put up on our page.
You guys put up, so I can be found that way. I'd be more than happy to find that
For the record, Kevin, he's not wearing Spanx.
Thanks for pointing that
Those
out
are called
to me.
briefs.
I appreciate that. I was going to ask. That was my next question. Thank you.
Difficult for a guy like me to find. Most men who ride the English disciplines are not former rugby players.
You will appreciate it, Houston. I pointed out to Kevin that is something that men that ride English wear.
Yeah.
I'm a man. I ride Western.
Yeah.
Considerable difference.
Oh yeah.
Don't ever confuse me with somebody that would ride English. I couldn't stay in the saddle. I could not stay in the saddle.
Yeah.
I've heard of English before. I was being funny in our convo, but
Yeah.
I've heard of it. But I don't know what it means.
No, I literally could not. Better riders
it's-
ride English. I could not stay in the saddle.
It's the tack. It's closer fitting, more designed for jumping. It's less practical. Anyway, but that's not what we're here to talk about.
He likes to hunt foxes.
Do you?
Anyway, go on.
There are no foxes that I am a member of the Woodbrook Hunt Club.
Are you really?
Yes.
I've Black Ring Spirits has been doing a bunch of stuff with them.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah, I've been working with Nelson. And,
Nelson Middick.
Yeah, Nelson's great.
he's actually one of Save Our Stables board members. He's representing the fox hunters on the state level board.
Just means they go riding horses looking for good looking girls.
Yeah, well,
yeah, kind of.
But
I've bartended
before anyone says anything in the comments section, no foxes are harmed in our fox hunt. Actually, in North America, foxes are just to be driven to ground. But because there's a lack of fox out here in the Pacific Northwest, we have runners who drag a scent that smells like a fox for our hounds to go after. So we're actually hunting humans.
Sounds much better to me.
Maybe it was the wording.
Maybe
it was the wording.
There you go. Anyway,
we'll give some latitude. Keep going.
Yeah. So let's get to. They're saying all of these things. They want to put all these restrictions on, and they're saying this is only for new properties. So if you buy land, cut your trees down and do all the prep work for it, and then you build a barn on it, then you'll have to fall under these new codes. So they are saying that it's not retroactive. We do have grandfather status. Now, however, if that was to come into effect, and we've asked this question of the county, and then a facility decides I need to build a new barn or I need to build a new covered arena, something like that, then these codes come into effect.
And it's all retroactive.
Then it's all retroactive, and you have to change everything.
So you can't
fire
expand
sprinklers.
or
Can't expand.
Can you
are
repair?
stuck. That question hasn't been asked, and we're still in the phase of finding pro bono lawyers or raising enough money to hire lawyers to ask those questions. So they're saying, oh yeah, all these facilities are grandfathered in. Well, that's fine. What happens to, and I've been reached out to by people from like Arizona and other places who's saying, hey, I want to move into up to Washington, and I'm looking in Kitsap County. Should I still look at Kitsap County? And I said, well, maybe hold off a bit because the law might change and you might not be able to do what you want to do. So it's really great if you have a facility that is already what you want to do with it and you don't want to expand, that's fine. But anyone else who, if you're like me, I have lots of expansion ideas that are 5-10 years down the road on my facility, and I wouldn't be able to do those. And then, of course, we also have, if you have a private horse property that is perfectly fine under this code, and then you decide to sell, say you're retiring, and you sell to someone, some up-and-comer who wants to start a training facility, wants to start a schoolyard, then those folks come under new rules. They come under the new code. So unless you're able to buy 40 acres plus to build these facilities, you would be highly restricted under the code as they have it written right now. Now, there are members of our organization who are on a steering committee with the county to revise the code. That's not good enough right now. Our goal in Kitsap County is to have these code revisions voted down by the county commissioners.
And let me put out there one of the comments that's been made. So Rick Eckert is in the chat. Rick is on the Paulsville City Council.
Yeah.
Hi, Rick. And Rick says, I'm very curious. There are a lot of farms in North Kitsap with cows and horses that have no setback options.
Exactly.
And that's a big part of what this is coming down to for you. You guys this is a relatively new issue as politics go.
Yeah.
And you guys are trying to get ahead of the game by almost, in a manner of speaking, preemptively create legislation and stuff that can work to counteract what they're trying to do.
Exactly. And now we already have Representative Griffey in the 35th. I've spoken with him about writing some legislation. But the thing is the way Washington State is set up politically, the counties and the cities can override, can not override, but they can do their own thing in concern with the state law. So the state could say, no, you can't do this. And the counties could say, actually, we have the legal right to implement these codes. So there's one facility up in the Paulsbo area that I've actually looked at and found on the county GIS, found their property lines, and then got on Google Earth and pulled out the measuring tool. There is no piece on that property that is more than 200 feet away from a property line. They are a commercial facility under this code. They would have to shut their doors as soon as they do something that would be considered an expansion. Oh, one other thing I forgot to mention in the code, and I of course don't have the exact verbiage in front of me, but they say that these codes can be enforced retroactively if it's decided for health, safety, and welfare.
Which gets to the scary part of the whole.
Who decides what that is.
And we've seen issues in this county over the years. I had a personal situation. It was not me, but we had a neighbor who had too many horses on their small piece of property. And as a result, guess what happened to the fecal count in the well water?
Yeah.
It shot up, right?
Through the roof.
That was somebody who was not responsibly.
How shallow was your well?
Oh, the well was 120 feet.
Okay. Yeah.
It was just fairly shallow well. But
most wells like 250
at least.
And I am not a scientist, but you should not have to worry about that.
Yeah. I mean, when you've got manure piled 4 feet high, it's going to have a tendency
that
to
becomes
get
a problem at that point.
But nonetheless, those kind of problems are already handled. They're handled through the health department.
Exactly.
So we don't need these additional regulations, and everything has been fine up until this point. Now, a lot of people are asking the question about is Kitsap County a GMA, which it is.
Yes.
That's the Growth Management Act. Can you do you have any knowledge about how that would affect this particular bill? I don't expect you to know everything. It's not a trick question.
Not off the top of my head. And the GMAs were put in place for good reason, I think. And thankfully I'm from a place that was under a GMA, the town of Allen. So we saw the writing on the wall there and, got everything and said, hey, this is a GMA, so we don't come under restrictions.
Talk about moving close back to home, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, what are you, 5 minutes from Allen?
Yeah, 15 minutes if you're not speeding. Which I do not speed on that road, as fun as it is. So I can get back to you on how the GMA is how it is affected.
It's just an interesting question that was asked. So, and that's okay.
And I'm sorry, dear listeners, that I don't have the answer for you.
But it's funny. The people in the chat were like, no, GMA, not a good idea.
Okay.
That's okay. But you know what? That's the kind of issue that's debatable in the public realm of ideas, right? And we can have those debates. People aren't going to get shot over those debates.
Exactly.
So we're okay. Those are good debates. Okay.
Well, I could talk about, I'm a conservative who agrees with public transport. So, I'm one of those weird folks.
Well, you're also Army and you appreciate the Navy. So back to public transport.
Yeah. Someone's got to
just kidding, Kevin. I'm just relaxed.
Paul, I hope you die in a fire.
Relax.
Hey, don't say that. I'm his neighbor.
Yeah.
That means I have to go pull him out.
Yeah. Here's what.
Or his property will be available at a discount.
Well, that might be the case.
Anyway, but there's someone in between. That's a whole nother story.
Yeah, but he's a nice guy. He's going to pilot school. Anyway,
you're his neighbor.
No. We have one piece of property between the two of us.
Okay.
And the neighbor that lives there is a young man in his mid 40s, like never married.
Yeah.
Worked for the trains for years, and now he's went down to Phoenix and he's training to be a commercial airline pilot.
Oh, there you go.
The guy's just
good on him.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely enjoying being a single white male. I'll say that.
Single male.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we talked about Clark County.
Yeah.
And I know I'm monologuing here. I just want to get this out.
Get it out. Let it flow.
Yeah. So down in Clark County, they implemented this, and they essentially put the standards of a canine boarding facility onto commercial farms. Now, one thing that they have in the Clark County Code that we don't have is they put a threshold on what qualifies you as a commercial facility. If you board up to 5 horses, so if someone pays you to stable and maintain their horses, up to 5, you're still considered a private facility.
Do they break that down as far as like if you are a full boarding?
No, they
not?
just say
No?
if you're
Just-
stable. So
okay.
if someone is paying you in some way, shape, or form, you can have up to 5 horses in Clark County. Anything more than that, you come under this code.
Okay.
Excuse me. Now, down in Clark County with these restrictive codes, and they of course down there said these would not be retroactive.
Yeah,
That
past tense.
if you're already a facility, that you'd be grandfathered in.
Right.
And that's why I don't trust that whenever they say it, because we are seeing on average 2 commercial facilities, 2 equine facilities close a year in Clark County.
And if you're not familiar with Clark County, it's pretty rural. Like there's a lot of space there. There's a lot of big open space and farms and
and there are lots of farms there. It supports the Portland, Vancouver community, and with a lot of it's great horse property out there, but also horse property makes great property for development.
It does. Yes.
And so a lot of these facilities are getting closed down and people are buying them up and putting tract housing.
Do you think that there's since you just brought that up, right? It goes into the commentator journalist mind, right? Sitting over here behind this desk. Do you think, because we know this with the firing ranges, there were outside interests looking to be able to develop the property that is the shooting range. Do you think that people looking to be able to develop those properties are in any way behind this?
I haven't seen any evidence of
Okay,
that.
that's
Now,
positive. That's positive.
I'm a guy who's done work with the black helicopters, and I don't see the black helicopters flying around in Kitsap County, but that's not to say they're not there.
Having played the general contracting game in Kitsap County in some decade past or so, I can tell you that there's all kinds of stuff that happens outside the the commissioner's office or whatever, and there's conversations all the time between big developers and people with influence.
Absolutely.
So and there's no paper trail for that.
That's right.
So I wouldn't be surprised.
100%.
I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I haven't seen anything like that. The second I do see something like that, I want to be on top of it.
And you feel free to bust them out. You call this show, you come in, you be like, "Oh, Paul, I got some info for you." It's and
But first, a glass of
let
bourbon.
it flow.
No, we haven't seen any of that up here. Now, that's not to say down in Clark County that they didn't see any of that either. It just was a happy accident that all of these large, low density areas had to sell at a very discounted rate, and they just got snapped up by developers. I mean, look at Portland. There's really no place. That's an expanding city, and there's really no place for people to go other than north. So,
but that doesn't benefit Oregon at all.
Not necessarily. No, it doesn't benefit Oregon, but
yeah,
those people have to have a place to live.
Sure.
And the terrain south of Portland isn't necessarily good for building houses. So in that kind of density, Clark County, it is. There's only one facility in Clark County that currently meets the code that's considered commercial, from what I've read, and I need to bring up that news article. And there's a good organization down there that's fighting the fight. But what we need to do up here is we need to see what happened in Clark County and make sure it doesn't even happen up here. So like I said, our objective right now is to have the code as it has been presented to us. 3 weeks ago, they released the code. 3 weeks ago, they released the code. So as it has been presented to us, we want to have that code thrown out, and we want to have the county do an economic impact study. That is one of the first things we want, the county to do an economic impact study on what losing commercial farms would be. And then we want to have smart code that benefits everyone.
Code is important.
Yes,
I think we would all agree on that. I know, like Tom and I, as contractors, and that's the one thing I want people to understand. Code is important for reasons we don't often realize, right? I'll use Kevin's house as an example, right? He had this isn't a bad thing, but he
if we're a county
myself.
inspector, please log off.
Yeah, he had a crew there that was working, and they built a big deck for his parents, and the deck did not meet code, and the code is there to make it safe.
Yeah,
and luckily for Kevin, he was able to force them to do stuff correctly because he could say, look, this is code, it needs to meet this. And which is what makes that stuff important. It's no good to go to somebody's house for a party and have the deck collapse.
Oh yeah,
it's just like, that's bad juju. It's a bad start to a weekend.
Yeah,
just saying.
No, my friend's going through that right now. He just bought a house nearby us, and he's having to rebuild his deck. That's the first
I know a
thing.
contractor.
So it's already being done. I
was gonna tell
but I
Tom.
even went over and I
Thanks,
collected it's a new enough deck that the wood's still good, and I'm going to repurpose it. But I looked at it and I said, this is whoever built this needs to lose their license. So code is important.
I'll bet you money it was an illegal crew.
No, I'm not.
We see it a lot.
On that.
I mean that seriously. We see that a lot.
But getting back to this, so we want to
come on, Paul, stay on track.
No, it's fine. Because we need to have time so we can go through and we can get these things done right. Now, the economic impact study, there was no economic impact study done by the county. And I'm just going to say my small facility, on top of, the hay, we pay someone to bring in hay. We have to go to the feed store to get grain. We have to go to the hardware store so I can fix fences and build new paddocks.
Which is a constant.
I have 2 veterinarians who we use. We have 2 farriers who we use. And that's just a small facility.
Yep.
like mine. So,
and farriers, for those that don't know, are as important for a horse's health as the vet.
Can I guess what they are? They work on their feet, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Perfect.
Well done.
Bam.
Well done, Kevin.
Gold
Kevin gets a
star.
gold star.
Gold star to Kevin.
No matter what Tegan says about you in the chat, you're smarter than she gives you credit for.
Amen.
Oh,
Anybody gets
so we have just my small facility supports 6 other individuals in a small part. I'm not directly fully supporting them, obviously, but I'm part of
You
their
mean
business.
you mean you're employing? Is that what you're saying?
We're hiring.
You're generating revenue
for them.
Yeah,
because I got to pay the veterinarian to come out.
People hate it when I say trickle down economics,
Yeah.
but it does. It's real.
So what's the economic impact going to be when Kitsap County or Pierce County or King County shuts down these facilities? Inadvertently shuts down these facilities. You're not only losing the horse facility, you're losing revenue from the training and the instruction, because if you are a good facility, you should have a business license and you should be paying your taxes as such. So you're losing out on that revenue. You're losing out on all the trickle down revenue there. And then, Kitsap County has a pretty good rodeo.
Yes.
Those horses got to train somewhere.
Yes.
And I'm sure people are coming. There are people coming from farther afield than just Kitsap for that rodeo.
Well, that much is certain.
But
yes.
still, you got to have,
because they win some bank.
Yeah. Yeah. That's,
you could come into. For those that don't know,
I wish my sport got the money that rodeo gets.
Right? Yeah.
But Houston-
English doesn't. But I will tell you, people can come into town and ride in a rodeo, and you'll have 200,000. Kitsap rodeo alone will have over $200,000 in prize money from a weekend of rodeo. I mean, that's money. People make money doing it. 18, 19-year-old girls, here's your $25,000 check. Great job on your 8-second freaking ride.
If we want to compare sports, so I ride English specifically, 3-day eventing.
That's not a real sport, by the way.
3-day eventing.
It's more of a sport than softball.
English is not.
We had the American Eventing Championships down in California a couple weeks ago, and the top prize, the best riders in the country, shared $60,000.
Wow,
they don't make as much as rodeo.
That is the national championship for our sport.
They're like way below rodeo. That's like WNBA kind of money compared to NBA.
That's less than. And then so and then you have Kitsap rodeo that $250,000 is being shared out
or
there.
more. Yeah.
So that go ahead.
I want to ask a question. So, but the farms, I'll call it farms for lack or whatever. If it's more than 40 acres, they're excluded from this.
No,
they're not.
I said 40 acres as an example.
Okay.
Because with the 200-foot setbacks, so if you take, I believe it's Silver Spurs up by the Kitsap Rodeo Ground, they're a 40-acre parcel. That you lose 20 acres from the 200-foot setback on that property. So
are there any that are exempt based on size? Are they like, if
size
you're
is
big
not-
enough, then
size is not an exemption.
If you're commercial at all,
size doesn't matter? Congratulations, Paul.
Size doesn't matter.
Okay.
You can be as small or as big as you want.
Okay.
Read into that as you will. But the reason I said that is because a large facility isn't going to be as affected by these new codes. Specifically, a lot of facilities out here in Kitsap County are 5 or 10 acres, and they're irregularly shaped. So you are completely shutting down these facilities.
That's what you just said, Houston, is a major part of this that I think a lot of people don't realize. When you start getting into a 4.5, 4.9 acres, 5, 6 acres, what he just said is super important. Irregularly shaped. And because of that irregular shape, you start talking about 200-foot setbacks, and now none of the property is useful for horses whatsoever. So
5 acres becomes a quarter acre.
Yeah.
Are the properties? How do I ask this? Are the
in English?
Are these properties like buffered up against similar properties? Like, are there areas where you've got like 4.5 acres here, 7 acres here, 9 acres here, 3 acres here, that just my conspiratorial mind after hanging around with Paul for the last 28 years makes me wonder, is this a push to consolidate into some larger farms where then, with the setbacks, you don't really have much of a say, but if all these lands conglomerated together, you'd have more of an ability?
No. So if you look at, I'm going to answer that question kind of twofold. First off, if you look at Kitsap County, they went through fits and spurts of how they parceled up smaller properties, because a lot of Kitsap County, originally Slaughter County. Little history lesson for you there.
Slaughter County, yep.
Yeah.
We should go back to that.
Named after Lieutenant Slaughter, who fought in the Yakima Wars, member of Stilcombe Lodge number 2. Which
Jesus, he went further and deeper than anybody before.
I have some stories. But so as Kitsap County developed, they went in fits and spurts of taking large parcels and allowing them to be cut down to smaller parcels. So you get a lot of 2.5, a lot of 5 acres, a lot of these, and then they're shaped in rectangles because that's the best way to arrange these properties around roads. There is no place that really has a lot of farms all together.
Okay.
So this would not be a ploy to consolidate farms, to co-op farms. A lot of what this is you have these places that used to be in the countryside, and then all of a sudden there's a 400 unit apartment complex that just got built right next door, or a 500 home development that just got built next door, and they come up to these facilities, and that's where we're seeing a lot of the problem.
So that's the problem. So the real issue is not a greed factor towards the farms. It's the city has crept in around them. Yes. Housing has crept in around them, and we don't want our people in this nice new apartment complex to look out their window and see farm implements or manure ponds, or we want it to be comfortable for the people that just bought this housing.
Well, I'm not sure it's completely that, but you do have something to that end. Now, what we have in the state of Washington and Kitsap County, it's in both codes, is called the right to farm. So, and that says pretty much if you move next to a farm, anything that is done on that farm, on that agricultural property, is considered agricultural business and is not a nuisance.
Okay.
So you can move next to a dairy farm. You can, buy 5 acres right next to a dairy farm and decide to put your house right downwind from the barn. And if you call the county and complain about nuisance smell, too bad. We have a right to farm.
They were there first, yeah.
And in county code, in Kitsap County code, equine facilities are covered under agriculture. So now you have the county writing a code that goes against another part of its code. And I haven't seen a draft of changing the other part of its code, taking equestrian facilities out of the agricultural coverage. And there might be a legal, I'm not a lawyer, I only play one on TV. So there might be something there. Yeah, and radio. Well, I've been told I have a face for radio.
Well, you'll fit in here just
look at it. He's a Rob Tepper. Okay, keep going.
But hold on. So is this code codified yet? Like, the county? Okay, so it's
no.
The county commissioners are talking about it.
Yes. So
but it'll be up to the 3 of them. This won't go to public vote. It won't go to. They might have public hearings, but it's the Kitsap County Commission.
Well, and keep in mind, 2 of them are one way politically, and only one who is the outlier. You would even expect you would expect that Orrin, as a Republican, to be more sympathetic to this. I leave that open to public.
I know that there's been discussions. I can't say anything more than that.
That's good, though. That's okay.
So, we don't want to. What I would like is everyone who wants to save our stables, and if you just believe in property rights in general, reach out to your county commissioner in Kitsap County and say, do not approve the equestrian facility code changes. Do not approve the equestrian facility code changes, full stop. If you want to revisit it later, we'd be more than happy to help you out, make it good code that we're willing to live with, that we're willing to thrive with.
Yeah.
Where we can have people move in from out of country, from out of state, from out of the cities, and say, hey, I want to open an equestrian facility. It's been my lifelong dream to have my own training facility, and I want to do it in Kitsap County. I think that's great. This code that they want to implement would tear that dream away.
Absolutely.
Rick brings something up in chat. He's talking about how there's a lot of horse stuff on Bainbridge Island.
Yes.
Have you talked to the folks on Bainbridge?
Yes, I've talked with the Bainbridge Island
influence on Bainbridge too.
Yeah, I've spoken with Bainbridge Island Saddle Club. We're in conversation with some of the folks out there. I'd be more than happy to go meet with them.
There are prominent saddle clubs on this peninsula.
Yeah.
There are.
Well, I'm just thinking Bainbridge has a lot of money and a lot of influence.
So, yeah, that's great. The great thing about Bainbridge Island is that entire island is incorporated. So these codes don't affect Bainbridge Island. So,
Ding.
Oh, see that's
Ding.
okay. Yeah,
Ding.
that is
okay.
but that's icky by itself, right? Like that's like, well, all the liberals live on Bainbridge, but we're going to pass some laws that aren't going to affect them at all. It's only, honestly, right? It's probably only going to affect people with more conservative
South Kitsap.
People with more conservative voting records, right? I mean, because most of them are going to be the people that are owning the horse farms and live more rural. Like that's just what we see demographically, right?
So I will tell you from being in the horse business, it crosses party lines. It crosses the aisle.
Yeah, it's absolutely true.
And I'm not here, I will take off my executive director of SOS hat whenever you guys would like once we close this off, and we can talk about that. But from here, it's a nonpartisan issue.
Is it? Okay.
It is a nonpartisan issue. We have everyone from all walks of life, from all political persuasions, that we have a common bond, and it is a love for horses. In my case, it started as a love for a horsewoman, and now it's
love for horse shit. I'm telling you.
Now it's
but that would expand.
They love the smell.
That would expand to llamas, alpacas, anything, right? I mean, it's not.
It
just
could.
gonna be the
It could
horses,
be.
right? Yeah.
And the way I'm fighting this, and I'm happy to put this out on the air, is we will not give you an inch, because we have seen in everything, as soon as you give an inch, a mile will be taken.
Absolutely.
And we cannot have that.
That's the government.
We absolutely cannot have that. So it doesn't matter who you voted for. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on.
Cue libertarian music.
If they
please,
if they come after these facilities, they will be shut down.
Yeah.
Because we have seen it, and they will give us platitudes, and they will say, oh no, your grandfather didn't. Oh no, it won't be retroactive. They will find a way, because we have seen it with so many other things.
Yeah.
And we just cannot have that. So you are more than what I used to be a real estate broker. Look, if you're listening in the cities and you want to get out of the cities and you want to move out to Kitsap, you want to move to rural Pierce, King, Snohomish, that's great. Go find your nearest realtor who knows these things, but realize you're moving out to the country. There are going to be country noises. There's going to be horses. There's going to be cattle. You might get stuck behind a tractor in certain places.
You might hear a gunshot or two.
And I don't understand why, but I don't understand why people would want to live out there if that's not the reason, right? Like when I moved from downtown Bremerton right on 13th, right? Busy major road in Bremerton. And I don't live really rural, but I live rural enough that my neighbors have chickens, and I don't, we have.
You live rural, but
I live rural. Black bear crosses the road. I got deer in my yard all the time.
That's rural.
Like, but that's,
I mean, you do have a challenging dirt driveway.
And a pig farmer that lives next door.
That's why I have a Jeep. But I mean, but that was the drawing point for me to want to live out there, right? I'm not listening to meth heads outside my bedroom window walking on the sidewalk in the middle of the night. I'm not listening to all the city noises. I get to, in the spring, I hear frogs in the pond next door. Like, isn't that the draw, that you're going to hear horse noises and chickens and that should be the reason?
There is nothing more peaceful than sitting at your neighbor's house in front of a bonfire, sipping on whiskey, and shooting the shit.
Exactly. Yeah. Paul and I have done it. And I'll tell you, I'll use this story from my time in college. I'm a graduate of Central Washington. Go Wildcats.
You're not a Coug fan though, right?
If my sister-in-law is listening, no, I'm not.
Thank you.
I just like to mess with her. She rooted for Alabama over University of Washington in the national championship.
Really?
Ooh.
Yeah, because she's that diehard of a Coug.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Hey guys, if you see Tom, be sure to ask him how the Apple Cup went, by the way. But go ahead, sorry.
Anyway, you mistake my fandom there, my friend. But
probably.
So this story comes when I was out in Ellensburg. We saw this a lot. This was at the very beginning of the Kittitas County being a bedroom community for Seattle, and farmers would pass on in one way or another, and the farmstead so 5 acres or so would go up for sale, and then the actual farmland would be sold or leased to another farmer. But you had these people who, the Kittitas Valley is idyllic. It's beautiful. It's serene. And you'd have these people, they'd come out and they'd see that. And then they'd get waken up by a combine at 4 a.m. And they go, oh my God, what's
happening?
What's happening? What is ruining my calm? I moved out here for calm. I moved out here for this serene, picturesque valley without realizing that, hey, farms work. And, they got to get up in the middle of the night to go harvest. They're going to take up the country roads that aren't wide enough for you to get around. People don't put that into their equations when they go out. They only see the pictures. They see the, like, oh, it's beautiful to be next to a horse farm, especially a well-manicured one.
Right.
The horses just munching along in their paddocks and, sometimes making funny noises or playing, and it looks pretty. But then you get to, you have a horse run through a fence at 11 o'clock at night.
And it fucking happens.
Yeah. Or I was at the Ducks Unlimited banquet last night. So I I was dressed relatively nice. And, I got home at 9:30 last night, and I took my jacket off, rolled up my sleeves, and I had to go stick my finger in a horse's eye to put medication in.
An eye right here next to the nose.
So, it's just things that we as farmers do and that we realize. And some people, they move out and they don't realize that's
right.
That's what happens.
That's right.
Raising animals is a 24-hour business.
And they're members of your family.
Yeah.
And I will say this, and it's like, and there are things people don't realize. Like, did you guys know that pink eye for cows can be deadly? Right. Yeah. And it requires a set of vaccinations over and over again, night after night. And can I just point out, cows are not tiny, and mine were half size. They're called Dexters. They're like a homesteading cow. And I'm telling you right now, God placed their horns at entirely the wrong place. Let it sink in, folks. A half size cow with horns standing next to a dude.
Yep. It's like a boar. While we're on that of medicating horses, I will say, I wish Trump hadn't have said that thing about ivermectin and COVID, because the price of ivermectin has
went through the roof
so much.
Supply and demand.
You know what the problem is? It fucking worked. I know that I had the Delta version of COVID, and thank God for vitamin C, high doses, and ivermectin, man.
There are tons of people that still make fun of you for taking it.
Yeah, I know.
There's so many people on my Facebook page to be like, Paul took ivermectin, what a dummy.
And
Hey, listen, on this discussion, we have to wrap this up in a second, but I'm just going to say this. I find it telling that societally, one of the things we fell in love with in the series Yellowstone was the resurgence of the depiction of America's farmers and their horsemen and the rural aspects of this country. And how we were drawn to that. Like, that represents what is America to a lot of people, and what we've lost by this whole urban push and growth and people migrating to the cities and all of that. So I find it curious that as a nation, we fell in love with this idea, and yet the government is still working in some way, shape, or form to try to impede that, or try to mess with that, or try to belittle that, or take some of that away. I don't know what it means.
It's just government capture. Yeah. It's people who see the highest and best use of, and again, I have not seen any hide nor hair of developers being behind this, but given the inch, they will take the mile of the highest and best use of a property is, in their eyes, for a house, in their eyes, for 10 houses. Even under my zoning out where Paul and I live, I could put 5 or 6 houses on my property.
Yeah, which would be quite profitable.
Yeah,
just
incredibly profitable.
Yeah.
We'd be able to repave the road. That's a story for another day.
Yeah, right. Hey, I've had several people reach out to me asking questions that are more specific and dialed in.
Yeah.
I've even had people ask about what they can do to help. So I'm going to, if it's okay with you, those that have asked, I will put them directly in contact with you. Okay?
Please do.
Via Facebook Messenger and stuff
like
that. Okay?
So we have a website and a Facebook page, Save Our Stables. You can't miss it. The logo is a horse head and a life ring.
Okay, that was the right logo.
Yeah.
I apologize for everything negative I said
we
about
wanted
it.
to be sure.
So, and I unfortunately was injured over the weekend, so I was not able to get a online donation system put up, but that should be coming in the next day or two. So Save Our Stables on Facebook, Save Our Stables on the web, just the website. If you search it, saveourstables.com, and we will have a way to donate. But if you can't donate, or I can't get to you with a remit envelope, and you're in Kitsap County, call your commissioner.
Yeah.
Tell them not to pass the code. If you're in any of the other counties, keep an eye out. Call your commissioner. Say, hey, we don't want something like what's going on in Clark and what's going on in Kitsap.
We can't
to
stress
happen
that
here.
enough, right? It's like when you saw it already go on in Clark, it's done deal there. Now you see them trying to implement the same thing in Kitsap, which means Pierce, King, and Snohomish are next.
Yeah.
It's a matter of
Like
time.
we're a testing ground almost. Like,
Yes.
We are.
See how it
And
flows.
that's because Kitsap County has a streamlined bureaucracy. So it's a lot easier to do things here. And I will say there are counties that, we're working with Mason County on what's a good code going to look like. And Mason County is willing to work with us and put in a code that helps horse owners, helps farmers, helps agriculture. It's not just about, in the long run, it's not just about us horse owners. It's not just about our equine facilities. That's where the attention is right now, but this is about all farms.
Would this pummel your property value as well if this were to go through?
Oh man, it would crush property values.
Yeah.
So the county's going to hurt themselves and their property tax base as well by doing this, right?
Again, they haven't done an economic impact study.
No.
And if they're smart, they won't.
It would drive the cost of equine services up, though. The property values might go down.
Absolutely,
It'll
because
drive the cost of equine services
you
way
would
up.
I'm not a
slash the
fan of
amount.
government capture.
Yeah.
I'm not a
So-
fan of regulation. I mean, I'm
This is Mr. Golden Showers, Mr. I didn't mean it like that. It came out wrong, Tom. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Yeah.
But Mr. Libertarian, right?
Don't
Gold.
kink shame
Gold
me.
is the color. Huh?
Yeah, don't kink shame me.
The look on Houston's face when you said that was like, what did I walk into? What kind of show is this?
Is that
There
what-
might be children listening.
I mean, I'm clearly wearing my glasses, but I thought the look on Houston's face was, oh, really? Just kidding.
More
Golden
bourbon.
showers is when you take a shower in lemonade. Okay, you go out on a hot summer day and you pour lemonade over your head.
That's when we get some more of this fabulous black ring bourbon.
Thank you.
It's very good.
Yeah.
All right. So I know we've got to wrap this up now. I will put people in touch with you directly and Save Our
Please.
Stables
Yes.
that are looking to be involved, make their voices heard, or put their dollars to work. I want to give you the real quick opportunity. Anything else? Anything you want to say in closing to the listeners about Save Our Stables and this stuff that they are trying to do?
Just what I've said before. Don't let the government take an inch on this, because they will take a mile. Reach out to your county commissioners and realize local politics is the true important politics, as we're seeing with this right now.
What was the phrase, Kevin? All politics is local politics. What was that phrase?
I think that was it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think that was it. Yeah.
It makes sense on issues like this. All politics are local politics. So
It all trickles down. I know that everybody hates talking about trickle down stuff, but it does all trickle down.
It does.
I mean,
Amen.
in every level.
Amen.
Houston, man, listen, contrary to what Paul said, I think you're a really reasonable, like well-informed, knowledgeable guest. We'd love to have you on again.
Yeah, we
because
can
there's so
talk
much
about
other
some
stuff
other
to talk
stuff.
about. Yeah.
Yeah. I know Paul, when I was talking about coming on, Paul's like, hey, what do you think of this Hegseth meeting? Like, you know what? I don't.
Well, Paul
next,
was like,
next segment. So chill out and wait for 5 minutes.
Oh,
You
okay.
can talk about it. Okay.
Paul
cool.
was like,
Very
Houston's not going to be a great interview. We'll get in out 5 minutes. He's not very smart.
All I said was
didn't-
that he didn't speak very good English. I didn't say.
But
I'm
thank you
just
for coming in, man. As somebody who doesn't know anything about any of this, it's incredibly fascinating the stuff that happens behind the scenes on stuff like this that I would have never even thought was even going to be a discussion. Like, 200 feet setback and blah blah blah, and what does that mean? And how's that? Like, I wouldn't have ever even thought that it was an issue to have to be considered.
Because people don't. What's 200 feet look like?
Right.
You know, we've been lying about what 6 inches looks like forever.
That's why
So-
women can't parallel park.
Okay.
Wow.
That's a solid 6 inches.
That's right.
Right there.
Can you give some props to
You guys are
real
like
quick?
12-year-olds. I swear to
Real
God.
quick before we go, can you give props to the local politicians that are involved?
So,
I want to make sure that
I know Orrin Root has been talked to.
Mhm.
I know the County Planning Commission has been very helpful with this. Representative Dan Griffey has been fantastic. He he picks up the phone on the first or second ring whenever I'm reaching out to him. He has said we want to put legislation at the State House. Commissioner Netherland in Mason County has said we are on your side. We don't want this to happen in Mason County. So
a state bill could trump this then?
No, it has to be fought at the county level. But a state bill can be put in place.
It can help.
It can help. So you remember that thing I said where Bainbridge Island doesn't have to worry about this issue because they're an incorporated city? It's kind of like if, state law can be, again, I am not a lawyer, but state law can be superseded in some ways by the county.
Okay.
So they can put more restrictive measures in place. So, but having something at the state level, reinforcing our right to farm, codifying more of our right to farm, not only as equine professionals, but also as, farmers of other things. We just need to have that in place and codified because contrary to popular belief, we're the home of Boeing, we're the home of Microsoft, we're the home of Nintendo. We're also the largest potato producer in the country.
Yeah, we beat Idaho.
Screw you, Idaho.
Yeah.
Vandals.
Wait, what? Did we really? I did not know that. I just learned something.
We can probably
we have more farmland.
Aren't we
than
trying
they do.
to get to break?
Yeah, we're okay.
We are, but I mean, the potato conversation blew my mind. Okay.
All right. Well, let's have you on again sometime, man.
Yeah.
I think it'd be great.
More than happy.
Like in 5 minutes. Can you stay for the next
Yeah, I
segment to
can.
talk about some?
Yeah,
Okay, good.
I can.
Okay. All right. Well, then let's take a break. We'll take a really quick bumper break. Give everybody a chance to stretch their legs. Use the men's room if they need to.
Thank you.
We
for
come
calling
back. A
it the
couple
men's
things we're
room.
going to talk about. Paul's going to bring up Hegseth, but before we do that, I'm gonna bring up something which is an unforeseen, an unforeseen effect of the Charlie Kirk murder that nobody's talked about and people should be thinking about because it's terrifying. So we'll talk about that in a second. So stick around. Outlaw Radio Network. More with Houston Hamilton. We're not going to talk about stables. We're going to talk about some other stuff. And we're going to continue to prove Paul wrong because Paul said Houston had no idea what he's talking about.
That's not exactly what I said.
Pretty close. Stick
Said he
around.
has no fucking clue.
More. There's the quote. Outlaw Radio. We're back after this. Stay tuned. Admin a la carte are specialized local experts committed to helping you run your small business. From general admin and sales support to marketing, digital media and technology to real estate and compliance. Admin a la carte's only goal is to take your business to the next level. Find out how Admin a la carte can elevate your business. Visit admin-alacarte.com for more information. That's admin-alacarte.com. Admin a la carte. Your business doesn't fit into a box. Why should you have to?
Are you ready to elevate your spirits? Look no further than Black Rain Spirits, your local craft distillery nestled in Town Square Mall. Indulge in the smooth richness of our handcrafted spirits, meticulously distilled to perfection. Whether you prefer the bold kick of our bourbon or the subtle sophistication of our gin, Black Rain Spirits has something for every palate. Visit us today at Town Square Mall and experience the essence of true craftsmanship. Black Rain Spirits, where passion meets perfection, unconventionally traditional. On a recent episode of the Outlaw Radio Network,
Some of our listeners even appreciated you dumbing it down for them. So, on behalf of
Sometimes
Paul,
I have to
thank you.
mansplain for people like. By the way, mansplaining is when men explain things to a woman in a condescending tone. I just mansplaining.
That's the Outlaw Radio Network, Sunday nights at their new time from 6 to 10.
You older people, I know you're getting a little edgy right now, but you better get into me because I don't want to bum you out, but I'm the future of America.
This is the Outlaw Radio Network.
Good evening, my fellow citizens. It's kind of stony, huh?
It's the real thing. A radio signal from another world.
The United States government presents
The Outlaw Radio Network. Outlaw Radio Network.
To provide guidance to mankind.
All right, Outlaw Radio, we're back. Before anybody asks why Kevin is standing, Kevin's back hurts in ways that are not humanly imaginable right now. It really hurts this bad because of carrying the show for so many years.
I think I did most of the talking last segment.
You did.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
you did.
Which is why it just. I don't understand the whole need to tell people, oh, this is why I'm standing up. My back hurts. Blah,
Is
blah,
your
blah.
new nickname Atlas?
Yeah, and I shrugged. Okay, okay, listen, before we get to the Hegseth thing, I just want to set this up really quick.
Okay.
Because I think this is going to be an unforeseen consequence of the Charlie Kirk murder.
Okay.
What we've seen a lot of is people on the right generally, I'm gonna stereotype a lot. People on the right coming together. We've seen increase of attendance in church. We've seen communities rally together, a lot of prayers, a lot of thoughts, all that kind of stuff, right? On the left, we've seen a weird dichotomy of things. Some people on the left are totally opposed to what happened. They've been verbal about it. They've spoken about it. Some of the left just don't seem to carry their way, and some of the left are celebrating it. Today, there was a shooting. Hold on. I want to make sure I get the facts on this right. There was a shooting at a Mormon church in Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
At least 4 dead, 8 injured. They set the Mormon temple tabernacle place, worship place, whatever they call it, on fire as well.
What was it? Grand Blanc?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I am not lumping all libs together. I'm not even lumping all extreme left libs together, but I think this is going to become a normal for a bit.
Can I ask you a question? And maybe you already answered it about
Yeah.
this, but I haven't done much research on this shooting. But what I did see was several posts all saying the same thing. Shame on conservative Republicans for, quote, immediately assuming this was a leftist that was shooting, and actually it was some guy on the right and they said because he had American flags on his truck. I'm like, well, that's not exactly evidence, but
yeah.
So have they said anything about the motive of the?
Not that I've heard.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
So I was reading an article probably an hour before we all got here and kicked off, and the last thing I heard about the investigation was they were keeping kind of all the details under wraps, and they were waiting to do some deep investigation into social media, blah blah blah.
So they don't have a.
Right now they know nothing, and they've released nothing except his name and age.
Okay.
And I'll go ahead and follow in Kevin's footsteps and not mention his name.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't believe in mentioning the shooter's name.
No, listen, I don't fault you guys for that. For that.
And again,
policy.
I'm not attributing a political party to this. This is not a political discussion,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I do think that one of the negative consequences among many with the murder of Charlie Kirk is that it is going to embolden people like this shooter, like other people who have political agendas that are mentally not all there. It is going to embolden them.
That's what the hate speech does.
Yeah.
Yes,
well,
absolutely.
The hate speech, but the notoriety too, right? I mean, the guy that killed Kirk, his photo was all over everything for a good solid week.
Well, and now his trans lover that supposedly motivated him to do this is quote unquote disappeared, although in protective custody.
Yeah, I would be too, by the way.
I don't blame him for doing that, frankly, because from what I understand, the other half of the shooter, the trans person that he was infatuated with, has been exceedingly cooperative.
Yeah, that's what I've read as well.
Yeah.
But all I'm saying is I think this is a new normal that we're going to see for a little bit. And again, it's not about the left. It's not about the right. It's about people that have access to weapons, strong political ideologies that are not really all there. that are disassociated from reality, that have mental health issues, that have a lot of hate in their hearts, one way or the other.
So 3/4 of women.
And that's why they can't parallel park, Paul said. And I firmly believe that what happened in Michigan is going to be repeated 5 or 6 more times before the end of this year.
So the only thing the only thing about what you just said that I think is a problem is access to weapons. Everyone has access to weapons.
100%.
Hold on, I'm not demonizing the Second Amendment at all.
Okay.
But I'm saying that there's a jigsaw puzzle to this, right?
Sure.
And I think it is people that have access to weapons and that are mentally ill and that are disassociated from society and that have strong fringe political ideologies. Those 4 things combined form into the perfect lone wolf in these situations.
But that goes to what Charlie Kirk said, doesn't it?
Yes.
That we are, and please hop in, Houston, if you want to.
Yeah.
Because Charlie Kirk made it very clear. He said, listen, just like with cars, as a culture, we've made the decision, right? X number of people per year will die because we have automobiles.
Mm-hmm.
And he's saying the same thing about guns. If we want to live in a country that has the Second Amendment, we have to be willing to accept a certain number of deaths as a result of them. And by the way, it's not even close. It's not even the same hemisphere as far as weapons go and cars go. Cars kill a lot more people. But
and no one complains.
Right.
A lot more people die in Europe from not having AC.
Air conditioning?
Yeah.
That's well.
So anytime you have
really got to explain that one to our listening base.
Yeah. So a lot of Europeans, they use the schools are a shooting gallery and all that, and more people in Europe die in the summer of heat injuries because they don't have air conditioning.
So little Sally Wiener Schnitzel living in southern Germany dies.
More likely to die
because
during the summer due to heat than die in an American school.
Okay. No, I get where you're going with the argument, and I can appreciate that. Okay.
It's just a fun one to point out to your European friends.
You have a strange idea of fun.
Yeah. Anyway, so
this is coming from a guy. I'm gonna say this out loud. That it was like, hey Paul, how's it going? Sends me a selfie. I won't mention where or why, but he was in a stairwell during
shelter.
a rocket attack.
Yeah, I was being bombed.
He's like, how's it going? What the fuck?
Yeah. No, but talking about the rise of political violence. So I have my security consulting firm, Olympus Security Solutions, and I actually had a friend who works in the political depolarization. So they bring people from both sides together, from the right and the left, from both sides of the aisle together, and have discussions to depolarize and say, hey, there can be agreement, there can be discussion. She reached out to me and said, I want your assistance with security, and I got a phone call. Thankfully, I didn't have to go because the local police handled the issue, but I got a phone call to go out to one of her upcoming events because they had a legitimate threat. And these are people, this is an organization that is trying to calm the dialogue.
I didn't know there was any such thing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I don't have permission to use their name.
That's okay.
So, but I'll see if I can use it going forward. But you have a lot of what you see, a lot of what I'm seeing is the ease of these shooters excusing their actions, an ease of the political violence being allowed because the right has been painted as everyone on the right is evil. And I'm not saying there's not violence on both sides. Trust me, there's plenty of people on the right who I think are idiots who want to bring political violence or who believe it's okay to for someone else to commit political violence in the names of their ideologies. That's not appropriate. That's not what America was founded on. Yes, we were founded in a war, but we were founded to not have this kind of political violence. And when you have one side that is completely demonizing and saying if you agree in one way with the right, then you are an absolutely horrible person. I've lost friends because they say, "Oh, you're a conservative, so you must believe in these things. You must believe." And I don't believe in those things. I'm a conservative for my own reasons, but they get painted with a broad brush. And when you dehumanize someone, it's really easy to pick up a gun.
Well, the problem I notice nowadays, because I don't really associate with with the DNC or the GOP. I mean, I don't have a home in either of those places. But I see on both sides of the aisle, lots of people taking their opinions and treating them like facts.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's been a lot of that. And if you question their opinions,
then you're questioning their facts.
Exactly. And you're questioning the core of their belief system.
Mm-hmm.
And look, I will say I have sat down at a bar in my hometown and I have had the bartenders look at me and say, and this is back when the first time I worked in politics. So I was known as my job being a campaign manager, all that kind of jazz. And the bartender said to my brother and I, "You guys are the nicest Republicans I know." I said, "How many Republicans do you know in this bar?" I said, "Well, really, you guys are the only ones. I guarantee you there's a lot more of us. We just don't speak up because we don't want to be yelled at. We don't want to be brought down." So, there's a lot of silent, maybe not majority, but there's a lot of people who they decide the best way to go through life is just keep it to yourself and go through. I like to live by the way of, rules when you're going into someone else's lodge or fraternal organization or something like that. Don't talk politics.
Are you a Mason?
Yes.
Okay, because you brought that up a couple of times. That's why I wanted to ask. Out of Mason County?
No.
Okay.
No. Stillcombe Lodge number 2 is my mother lodge.
Okay.
Out of South Tacoma. But you don't talk politics. You don't talk religion. You don't talk those things that can create heat, because we are seeing it. It's driving a wedge. So sorry, I've been getting philosophical. My apologies.
Philosophical is just fine. Listen, when you're married to a woman, you don't have conversations with her about your ex. Like, there are certain things in this. Why did you just cocky? Like you're like, oh,
Yeah,
maybe that's
sometimes.
where I went wrong. Listen, it's true. It's true, right, Kevin? It's true. Right, Kevin?
No, I'm not going to agree with anything.
Anyway.
But listen, I bring all of this up to mention, again, there was another shooting in North Carolina today, which is a 40-year-old Marine who pulled up in a boat to a bar, boatside bar.
Yeah, that one I heard about.
And again,
This is the first I've heard of that one.
Oh, yeah.
That was today?
Yeah, he was in the boat and he shot at people on the dock, if I understand correctly.
Yeah, and he'd gotten a Purple Heart from his service in Iraq. And again, all I'm saying is we were already a broken country anyway when our mental health treatment, right? And all that we have heard since Charlie was murdered is this constant discussion about political violence and murder and death, and it's not that we shouldn't be talking about it, but there is a sensitive segment of our society that will push them over the edge, and I think that's what we're seeing.
Yeah,
and I think it's going to get, like I said, we're going to see 5 or 6 more significant shootings between now and the end of the year. I think we're going to see attacks on houses of worship. I think we're going to see attacks on public figures on both sides. Some people are going to want to continue what the Charlie Kirk shooter started, and some people are going to avenge Charlie Kirk. Like I think it's going to be like both sides, and I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. I think this is just going to like pull the cover off some of the warts of our mental health in this country. And it's not to demonize guns or the Second Amendment. Like, I'm a big supporter of having the Second Amendment wide open and unfettered. Like, I'm the guy that thinks convicted felons should have access to weapons because the Second Amendment doesn't say they can't. But you have to acknowledge that there are some really desperate people in our society that are not getting mental health treatment. And we have stripped family members and friends and spouses from the ability to compel that treatment. So now they go unchecked. And then they act out, which is what I think is a lot of what we're seeing.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Okay.
They opened up the cuckoo's nest.
Yeah, well, we can't even force. Well, no, we can't even force our own kids when they're 13 years old to get mental health treatment. If they're 13 years old and they said, I want to go see a counselor or a shrink, we tell them they don't have to. Parents can't compel their kids to do it. I went through the thing with my daughter, there's no motivation for that. Oh, she's 15 years old using fentanyl. I'm going to compel her to treatment. Oh yeah, you're just her parent. You can't. She's 15. She gets to make that decision herself. And those are minors that don't know the ramifications of their own actions, let alone you get to an adult. It's even harder to compel them.
Why do you think there's certain organizations out there who want to lower the voting age to 16?
Please no.
Which is insane.
It's so easy to manipulate.
Yes.
And I'm just going to get on my soapbox. TikTok is a psychological weapon.
It is. Yes.
Does it change your mind that TikTok's been bought out by or is going to be taken over by U.S.?
Well, China's still going to own a percentage.
But it's going to be run by U.S. investors.
Yeah.
According to Trump's
I need to have a look into that. But I say that because you're talking about, they're 15, they're not able to do these things. Easily influenced.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason why the voting age used to be 21.
Look, Ma, Tide Pods.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The voting age in this country used to be 21. The enlistment age was also 21, but then, a big war happened and we needed more bodies for that.
More cannon fodder.
But it's because we were all 18-year-olds. I was 18 years old once. I know I never dressed like it.
I didn't know shit when I was 18.
Yeah.
Yet I raised my hand and took the oath.
I bet anyone listening to this, if they were to look back at their decision making between 18 and 21, would go, I made some pretty poor decisions and was influenced pretty poorly by people who did not have my best interest in mind.
Oh, I was an idiot till I was at least 25.
Yeah.
Listen, I argue people should not get married before they're 30. Now I think there's a large group of people, like even Charlie Kirk talked about it before. Get married young, have a family young, get anchored, get rooted, get a foundation in your life. Like I understand all that, but I don't. People aren't ready for it now. They're just not.
Don't get married until you can drink.
Well, because you're going to need it. But I don't think you should get married till you're like 25, 30 years old.
Man. That's right.
People change so much in that.
You have only had half a glass.
I know, right?
That's a really bad impression.
It's more like 2 sips, I think. I don't know. Anyway.
But it's just to finish off on my end. Like, it's amazing to see how we've gone from being able to have political discussions with people on the other side of the aisle to now it's okay to shout someone you disagree with down and to use non sequiturs.
Yeah. But hold on.
Call them names.
Let me push back though. Hasn't it always been that way in this country to an extent? Like there was a guy that got beat with a cane on the floor of Congress in the 1800s.
You mean the guy who tried to shoot President Jackson?
No. There was a
Aaron Burr.
There was a there were I think it was 2 U.S. representatives had a back and forth, and one of the representatives attacked him and beat him. There's still a blood stain on the floor of Congress from when that happened. So hasn't it always been that way? But it's just more magnified now because we have social media, we have 24-hour news cycles.
I would agree.
I don't think. Tell me if you agree, Houston. I don't think we're any worse than we've ever been in division and in disagreement and on political stance.
But we've been better.
But we're more amplified now, and we hear about it more because of social media and 24-hour news.
I think it can be both. But I will say a lot of it is the amplification.
Mm-hmm.
Every idiot 30 years ago didn't have the ability to reach every individual on the planet. And now you have every person who thinks that their idea is the greatest idea ever and everyone should listen to me, typing using horrible language and spelling on X or Facebook.
Mm-hmm. Like,
run that through a spell checker first.
Yes, social media has definitely proven that we're not ready for a spelling bee.
Well, 50 years ago, the only way people would have done this was to stand on a street corner with a bullhorn, and everybody walking by them would have said, "This guy's an idiot. I'm not even going to pay attention."
Well, that's why you have Hyde Park Corner in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
It is the one. Well, till recently, but that's another story. It was the one place in the UK where, as long as you were on your soapbox, literally a soapbox, you could say whatever you want and not get arrested. But you know what? Now everyone has their soapbox.
Yep. Social media. Yeah.
Okay.
Now I feel depressed, Houston. Thanks.
I'm sorry. What can I do to cheer you up? Would you like me to do a jig?
Can you do a jig?
No.
The camera's on you, by the way.
Great.
Do we ever hold on? But I want to stick on this just because we're at top of the hour in a couple minutes, so I don't want to get into Hegseth yet.
Okay.
Just because we'll start it and have to go to break. Is there any rescue in our society from where we've come? Like if we passed a mark where we can't retreat back from it, or is this just the new way of our society? Do we just continue to rumble down this path blindly?
Calmer heads will always prevail. We see it cyclical. As you said, there used to be a point in time where congressmen would beat each other on the in the Capitol building. But there's always calmer heads will always prevail. I have a belief in the steady progress of this country and the steady progress of people saying, hey, this has gone too far. Let's rein it back. Let's rein it in. It ebbs and flows. It is the natural way of society.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we used to tar and feather politicians that we didn't agree with. We don't do that anymore. So, I mean, it's like you said, we weren't.
Some of them we probably should.
Some of them we probably should. I mean, right now we're no worse than we've been, but we've been better.
Yeah.
And we've been a lot worse.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, we used to tar and feather politicians we didn't like. I mean, that's pretty
Can you
nasty.
imagine how divided we would be if we had social media during Vietnam? Or if we had social media during the Civil War, or if we had social media during the Civil Rights Act?
Oh, yeah. It would be so much worse.
It'd be so much worse. Like,
and if you want to talk about political violence, there was a lot of political violence going on back then, and it was a lot more accepted. Now, sorry, lost my train of thought there. So I'll leave that to you.
I think that the one thing that's being overlooked in the entire conversation is that we live in a country that has always been divided by political divides, right? It has become a matter of extremes, though. And within that world, if you will, that matter of extremes, we're seeing more and more, as we stated earlier, people that are weak-minded, weak-willed, taking to acts of violence in order to be heard. And which is why the political conversation, as long as the rhetoric remains amped up, it's going to be dangerous. Because the weak-willed, the weak-minded individuals take it almost as a calling.
But hold on, that's where I push back at you, though. I don't think the rhetoric. I don't
push back. You're sitting in a chair.
I don't think the rhetoric is ratcheted up any more than it's ever been. I think it's the portrayal of the rhetoric, especially by the media, and the pushing of the rhetoric on social media that is actually the driver for all of this. If you watch CNN, every news story is, here's how divided we are. Here's how the left hates the right. Here's how the right hates the left. Here's how much everybody hates each other. Here's political violence. Like, they just beat the drum every minute of every news story of every day.
Which is why they're bound to get a grip on people that are mentally unstable.
So,
but really, I mean, they do that because they want to sell advertising.
Yeah.
It's nothing nefarious. It's just,
well, that's nice of you. I think it is nefarious.
If it bleeds, it leads.
Yeah.
That's the old saying in news. If it bleeds, it leads.
I mean, I think you're giving them a lot of credit, Tom. I'm not disagreeing with you.
I'm saying that about both sides, but both, the liberal view and the conservative view.
Do you? So you really think that if you turn on, let's say, Fox News or OAN, now actually Newsmax and OAN are so far to the right, you actually may see some of what you're talking about. But and I don't watch those networks. But if you turn on, if you turn on Fox News, do you see them ever?
Because
they don't ever try to justify any of this stuff.
I'm not saying justify. I'm just saying talk about. Because if you're talking about it, then people are paying attention.
So you're like Morgan Freeman in racism, right? You want it to end, stop talking about it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. I mean,
which is a real quote, by the way. Look it up, folks.
Yeah, no, I think Morgan Freeman's brilliant.
Yeah, he said that.
With that regard.
You want to end racism, stop talking.
Yeah, and that's like, if you want to end school shootings, stop talking about them.
I don't know that would work.
They're still going to happen because we've already talked about the fact that there's a mental health issue.
Wow, what a catch-22. Stop talking about school shoot, but you just did shit.
Yeah, but you're gonna stop a percentage of it, right? And then the rest of it can just be, hopefully some healing on a social level where we address these mental health issues.
Look, to this day, and I never mentioned the names of shooters on this show, but I am for an example's sake. To this day, I still know who Klebold and Harris are.
Right.
They're the ones that walked into Columbine.
The,
and shot
the
up
trench
school.
foot mafia.
The trench foot. The trench
Or
coat.
trench coat. Yeah,
Trench coat. Trench foot was in
Trench
World War
foot.
One, Paul.
Trench foot is what you get when you wear combat boots in the water too long.
Yeah.
But we know who the trench coat mafia was to this day.
Right.
And weak-minded kid. We are raising generations of weak-minded children.
Some of us are. Yeah, I agree.
And then they hear the names of all of these shooters and how they're memorialized and immortalized and propped up and talked about. And they see that they feel like their lives are going nowhere and they're stuck and they're screwed and they can't have the American dream because of evil capitalists. Well, how are they going to be known? They're going to go shoot up their school. So I think there's something to what Tom is saying, that we continue to talk about it so much.
Well, he's a libertarian. I wouldn't give him too much credit. It's like not punishing your dog for peeing in the house.
Some kids will hear it and
Love
be
you,
like,
Tom.
well, this is how I'm going to be remembered. This will be my mark because I got nothing else to contribute to the society. They're going to remember my name. I'm sorry. I know you were going to say something.
Oh, no, that's fine. I was going to steer this back a little bit more to the philosophical, but
No, go ahead.
I agree with you on that. But what I will say, a couple of things.
See that, Paul? He agrees with me.
So
Don't bury yourself in the part.
Couple of things. What leads, they've shown this on social media.
Mhm.
If it makes you really happy, you're going to react to it. And if it makes you really angry, you're going to react to it.
It's
There's
a song.
lot-
If it makes you happy.
Not quite. Don't
Pull
quit your day
pin, throw a
job.
grenade.
Sheryl Crow.
So you have that, and then you also have people who want to outside of the United States who want to divide. They want us to have this division.
It's a big missing part. Yes, you are correct about that. Almost like
And
you do
I
that
will-
job for somebody.
I will say, when Assad fell, there was a lot
The
of
former
stuff
president of
Syria.
Syria.
Former dictator of Syria.
Yep.
Let's use the right word. We saw a
He's
lot.
fucking corrected me on my own show.
We saw. I'm the subject matter expert.
He is right.
We saw a lot of stuff on social media that was leaning towards the black helicopter tin hat wearing
Mhm.
libertarians. We saw a lot of that was leaning into the I'm not pointing fingers. We saw a lot that was
He's
leaning
literally pointing a finger.
no, knife hand. You saw a lot of that was leaning towards the bleeding heart conservative Christian, the evangelical Christian. One of the things we saw, a couple of the things we saw after the fall of Assad is there's a gentleman, I don't know if he's actually based in Moscow, but his whole shtick is that he's on the run from the United States government and is taking political asylum.
Is that the guy
Russia.
they found?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
All I know is he has a very large voice, and he put out that, hey, was there a trade of Syria for Ukraine, like spheres of influence between Russia and
Interesting.
United States? And then
Not
we
a
had-
topic we have delved into.
And then we had someone who was, and I'm sorry, I hope this isn't derailing you too much.
go ahead.
But I'm saying foreign influence. The example here is foreign influence in our media and in our discussions. We had someone else who it was one of those selfie videos, young mid-20s woman in her car crying about how she's an expat living in Syria and the Al-Sharia army has just come knocking on doors. The HTS has just come knocking on doors saying Christian women aren't allowed to be out, without a man, and now you have to wear a burqa and all that. She was in Des Moines, Iowa, but she was putting this stuff out because it gets clicks, and you get the pearls clutched. And then we had the same bot farm backed people doing stuff on the other side, saying, hey, we really do need to be on top and supporting Sharia, and we do need to be doing. So that's one example of we have foreign influence, something in Syria, which really most Americans should not care about. And we in America are being influenced by foreign powers on social media, and they are trying to drive narratives because they know what is going to, that fear. That was a big one of using fear to generate people's interests.
Yeah.
So be careful. Always ask a question of where is this person coming from?
Well, we have uneven censorship though too, right? Like we have social media companies that will pull off posts about Charlie Kirk because, well, that's insensitive or racist or non-LGBTQ friendly or whatever. They'll pull those or mute those. But like you talked about, they'll leave the stuff that is fake. Well, because that's not really hate speech, so we're going to leave it. Doesn't matter if it's true or not, but we're going to leave it. So the social media companies have a say in kind of muting what they want to mute and letting us see only what they're going to approve.
I think we've seen in the past 18 months a swing away from that, because I think Mark Zuckerberg was called to the carpet on that and came out and said, yeah, this did happen. Yeah, we're working on fixing that. Because you did get, we talked about government capture earlier, corporate capture. I think I may have just invented a new poli-sci term there. Corporate capture, where you get
copyrighted,
where you get people who they get in these companies and they say, I'm going to force my ideology onto company policy. And we see that especially in the tech industry and especially in the social media industry.
There's a fair bit of that with Google.
Yeah.
I had a buddy of mine that worked for Google for a long time, and his job was to watch videos and pull videos down. And some of them seemed easy, like they'd pull down the beheading videos and stuff like that. A lot of stuff he had to watch that was wonky, but some of it is this edgy free speech stuff where, like, should you be able to go? Here's a great question for everybody: should you be able to go on social media in this country and say, we need another Holocaust, for example? Should you be allowed to do that? Now, on one hand, it's deplorable speech. It's awful. It's horrible. It's heinous. But where do we draw the line in this country between that and allowing people to verbalize their individual beliefs? I don't know the answer to that.
So this is my libertarianism coming out. What, it's the company's right to decide what is and is not posted on their platform. At one time, media was regulated by the government. I forget the name of the law, but it was a Fairness Act where they had to, news organizations had to present news items from both sides. If they posted something that was being published by the Democrat Party, they had to push something that was published by the GOP as well to get both sides of it. And it was government enforced fairness. That's not necessarily right. Now, would we have seen the rise of CNN and Fox News and MSNBC partisan organizations? Probably not as fast. But also, you wouldn't have the rise of social media. You wouldn't have the rise of X, which is, a massive news organization now in and of its own right. So
it was called the Equal Coverage Act. Which
thank
is
you.
Passed in 34, but it's been repealed. Although the equal time rule is still there.
Okay.
For candidates. No, I think you're right too. Like the libertarian in you, I agree with, which is let companies decide what they want to do.
What?
But when you're a company like Facebook, if you're agenda driven, and you want to push, again, for example, men and women's sports, right? And that's your agenda as a company, and you filter out the dissenting voices, then I would argue it has a really detrimental impact on the discussion, because now it feels like the only words you're hearing are people in favor of it because the algorithms suppress or they blocked or whatever.
So don't be someone who's influenced by what you see on Facebook.
Yeah, but you talked earlier about the easily impacted youth,
and
now
So that gets to, and I hope I'm not sounding like I'm going counter to myself, but that's where it comes into educating. Like, I hope my kid asks questions. I hope when he's old enough to start doing this, he starts thinking critically. I think that's the biggest thing, not what's being pushed on Facebook or X or TikTok, but it's people not being able to think critically about it.
Well, I think the biggest solution to that is take away. Okay, here's my libertarian moment. Take away all those regulations, right? Say whatever you want to say. We should all be able to do that, but you also have to be accountable for what happens from the things you've said. So,
well, this will be controversial. I've always argued that if you want to segregate and you want to not serve people of a certain race or a certain religion in your restaurant, more power to you. But you better put a sign up.
Yeah.
If I'm going to go to
and be
Denny's,
accountable for the results of that.
if I'm going to go to Denny's and Denny's doesn't want to serve African Americans, that should they shouldn't face legal action for that in the courts, but they should be required to put a sign up, and then let the market decide whether or not that place stays open. Because that place will shut down really, really quick. I'd like to know where the racists are.
I mean, that you make a good point there.
There's nothing
But,
wrong
you
with
know, that
personal
does
accountability.
that goes against the Civil Rights Acts.
I get it.
So-
No, I get it, and I hear you, but I would rather know. Like the flip side of that is, you're African American. You go to a restaurant where they hate you and don't want to serve you, but they can't stop you, so they mess with your food, or they give you half-ass service, or they spit in your food, or whatever they do. Like, I would just rather it be.
And you're going to vote if you're that person. You are going to vote with your dollars. So you do have a valid
If
point,
you know.
but at the same time, that's a little too libertarian for me. Yeah. No, I think that there should be some of that there.
I think we've gone too far, right? No one is accountable for anything now. I mean, it's so easy to just stumble through life like a moron and just, I'm sorry, and play the victim card. And I mean, we see that so much now. No one's accountable for their behavior. And I think that's to social detriment.
Well, not only is nobody accountable for their behavior, but everybody's protected from having to really be who they really are, because now we put so many restrictions and laws out there that we've made people want to be quiet and hide in the shadow.
So let the scum be shitty, right?
Exactly.
So we all know who the scum is. I mean, you to take away all the regulations and just let people be accountable for their actions.
People are going to hate me for this. Take the spirit of what I'm saying. One good thing about the KKK was you know where they stood.
Sure.
You knew who they were, and you knew where they stood, and you knew who the racists were.
And you know what's really funny about that example?
Yeah.
Do you have any idea what condition the KKK is in now? Almost non-existent.
No, I would disagree with you. I think they're very strong and they're underground.
You think
Because
so?
now we've made it in such a way that they aren't allowed to be vocal about it. So they've learned a new way to be underground about it and be really uber secret silent about it. And so put your sign on your Denny's. We don't want to serve any African Americans here. Put the sign out. Totally fine. And then when I go there and I see that sign, I'm going to turn and go somewhere else.
Sure.
Because I'm going to let my dollars dictate it. And that place will fail.
No, I agree. I mean, again, that goes back to the accountability thing. Do as you will. Just be accountable for your behavior.
I'm afraid to see the chat. People are going to kill me.
Well,
Why did I stay on again?
we skipped our break because we were going to talk about the pig head.
No, let's go to Hegseth now.
Yeah,
let's go to Hegseth now. I was waiting for you to get back.
No, you weren't.
Yes, I was. I was stalling.
No, because when I went out there, it was 10 minutes after our break. What?
Dinofire. Go ahead, Paul.
Jesus Christ, Margaret. All right, man. We need to get you laid. We'll hire you a hooker. Anyway.
Wow.
I didn't say what sex.
I really hate you.
Like, don't be upset at me now. I'm not trying to throw your homosexuality into the bus or anything. You can be whatever you want. Don't ask, don't tell. Anyway, so let's talk about this meeting in 48 hours ish.
This will be an educational moment for me.
Well,
Tom has.
Well, it is no longer the Department of Defense. It is the Department of War. Okay, so that's the first thing. I don't know if I agree or disagree. I don't know that I even really have an opinion on changing it from the Department of Defense to the Department of War, although changing the name to the Department of War has really apparently upset some of our geopolitical, less than friends, who are literally using that as an excuse to suggest that the United States is preparing to go to war against everybody from, Russia to Bulgaria to freaking Chile, like Venezuela thinks we changed the name to the Department of War because we're preparing to go to war with them. Listen, folks, the United States military going to war against Venezuela is going to be like the Seattle Seahawks playing the JV junior high football team. Okay. This is not going to be much of a competition.
No, it would be like Kuwait. Pushing Iraq out of Kuwait.
It would be worse.
It'd be worse.
It'd be hours.
I think Iraq was like the 7th or 8th
they were
largest
third largest.
military. Were they third
when
largest?
Desert Storm started, they were the third largest army in the world. They were bigger than us.
I'm just talking about the speed at which that was over.
6 days, baby.
Yeah, it was pretty short.
6 days.
Ground war was
Venezuela would
shorter.
surrender when they saw us on the horizon. They'd be like,
My kids are like, "Did you go to Desert Storm, Dad? Were you in the war?" I was like, "Well, our tanks were painted, but it wasn't dry."
Didn't have the chance to get there.
Yeah.
I think, talking about Venezuela, one of the major issues, and we're going to see legal issues under laws of war, is
The laws of land warfare.
yeah, they're mobilizing basically popular units. So they're basically mobilizing civilians into auxiliary combat.
And the reason you're saying that will be a potential legal issue is because
you're going to have a lot of people who are going to claim that if that does happen, you're going to have a lot of people down there who are going to claim, oh, well, Americans are shooting civilians. When in fact,
as soon as they put that uniform on.
As soon as they put the uniform on, they become combatants.
It's American military have interesting sense of humor, whether they're in the Navy or not. Mostly it's Army guys, but American military personnel have interesting sense of humor. For example, with a Modus or a 50 cal machine gun, you are not allowed to shoot enemy combatants.
Right, but you can shoot their uniform.
You can shoot their gear,
their equipment.
canteen.
It's an anti-material weapon.
So you just aim for the canteen.
I was aiming for his helmet.
Yeah. You
did
cannot.
did not take into account the drop.
You cannot shoot paratroopers, but you can aim for the parachute.
Yeah.
It's just things like he's talking about the laws of land warfare. It's interesting. I can't speak for you, but I think for us it was week 2 of boot camp because week 1 was first aid. So it's like the first thing you learn, man, when you enlist. And which is why it always cracked me up that you would hear people say, I don't trust our military. They would follow orders instead of stick. No, I think most military personnel are going to follow their conscience. They know what they have to do versus what they're allowed to question. I have a great deal of faith in them. Now, our government is a wholly different issue. Wholly different issue. I did sit and watch General Schwarzkopf give a big speech about how 20,000 M8 chemical alarms all malfunctioned at the same time when the cloud from Al Qamasea chemical weapons dump floated over the soldiers' heads. Okay. So my trust in the government, not so much. The soldiers themselves, quite a bit. You wanted to say, go ahead.
No, I think that's a pretty good point. But Venezuela. So getting back to this Hegeseth thing.
Yeah.
So,
which the meeting is called for Tuesday.
Yeah.
And it's okay, tell me if this is the right phrase. Is it line officer? What is the right
general
phrase?
Flag or general
Flag
officer?
Okay, that was the word I was looking for.
And from what I read, and I'm going to preface this with, I am not on active duty. I am not representing the thoughts of or opinions of the Department of Defense. But this is in no way official.
It is important that people understand that you are an officer in the United States military.
Yes, in the National Guard. I am not on active duty service right now. So the call was for 800 flag or general officers. Flag is when you're naval service, general officers when you're land or air service. That equates to about over 95% of all general officers in the service across all 5 branches. So from my reading on it, it's not all 800. So I think invitations were sent out, calls were sent out, but there were some, restrictions on if you're in a certain position or you're doing a certain job, you're not going to show up to this thing. Everything I've read about it has been hey, we're enforcing standards kind of thing. So last month there was another change to the U.S. Army's uniform appearance and standards. So that might be a bit of it. The joke is every general officer is going to have to get a height, weight, and taped walking into the conference room.
I'm sorry. I just find that hilarious.
As that's my extra event in PT that I got to do every time. But, unfortunately, I'm not a skinny soldier.
You're not on the big boy program, right?
No,
okay,
I'm not
good.
on the big boy
Okay,
program.
just checking.
But, yeah. But I don't think it's as big as everyone is making it out to be. I mean, there's obviously these things don't happen very often.
Ever?
No, they happen.
Ever? No,
they
when
happen.
was the? You know when the? I know when the last time. one of
When
these
was the
happened.
last one?
It was during the Nixon administration when they completely. I don't want to use the wrong words here, but basically if you have a computer and you reformat it, that's effectively what they did within the military at the time. I don't know all of the details with it. All I know is that they basically reorganized everyone and everything and everybody. And that was the last time they did it. But that was still in the 70s. Folks, that was 50 years ago.
Well, and there might be with the change to the Department of War, and this is all speculation. We won't know
Right, we have
until
no clue.
after Tuesday. And if their OPSEC is any good, we won't know until after Tuesday.
So it's funny that you say that because one of my dearest, closest friends is a colonel who works part-time at the Pentagon.
Yeah.
And he was like, nobody here can keep secrets.
No.
Like the walls talk in the Pentagon. I don't know. I've never been there, but he's like, the walls talk here.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what this meeting's about. He's like, nobody.
Yeah.
So whatever it's about, it is beyond being kept secret. Like somebody's coffee boy isn't even talking about it. So
I mean, it might be reorganization of the broader force. I mean, it could have to do with the renaming of defense to Department of War. It might just be a bunch of policy stuff. So that would
listen.
That would be a
all of
reason
that-
to get all the GOs together.
Would it? I mean, when they could do a freaking Zoom call, I appreciate where you're coming from, but I'm like looking at this from a global historical perspective. We have the vice president, actually the vice premier of Russia, Medvedev, spoke at the UN after Trump did, right? After President Trump did, and made the declaratory statement: the United States and NATO is at a state of war with Russia right now. That's his declaration at the UN.
Well, that's
Now,
because Russia did it.
look, we didn't start it, obviously. But and that's a whole nother debate, right? I mean, Kevin thinks we should have just let them alone to flounder and die on their own, like a fish out of water. Yes. But I cannot, on that issue alone, I cannot escape Russia's the one who chose to go in.
Yeah.
That's my feeling on that issue. But and I know, Tom, I love you, and I know that you're going to disagree with me, and that's okay. But I firmly believe that we are seeing that this meeting is a reaction to something that people within the military feel is on the cusp somewhere.
Can I say
right?
Space aliens.
And it wouldn't be Venezuela, right?
Space aliens.
That's nothing.
Well, in regards to this, so how long ago did Hegseth announce this meeting? Like, I
Thursday.
thought this meeting has been in the works for a little while, or was
It has been.
I don't know
so
the answer
before
to
the comments at the UN?
I believe from
That was the
I've
impression
read,
that I
it
got.
has been.
Well, that was
just
Wednesday.
announced.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
So-
Wednesday. I don't know how long the meeting's been on the books for.
One of the other things, and this was you told me to be ready for this, so I did a little
Yes.
bit of reading before I
See that? I
came
boss
down here
around
on this.
officers in the United States military.
No, you didn't. I'm not here in a
You're
military capacity.
You're quickie with
So-
no, you didn't.
But you said that call the last time they did this under Nixon there was a massive reorganization of
Yes.
the Department of Defense.
Yes.
One of the things I've read, the Center for Strategic Studies, I believe, is where I read it, was there is talk about possibly reorganizing the combatant commands.
Now, how do you mean when you and what kind of a big deal would that be?
That would be eliminating a couple of 4-star commands, like the top. So right now, the
Sounds like a
combatant-
Saddam Hussein kind of meeting,
The-
right? Didn't you bring that up, Kevin?
the geographic combatant commands are the commands worldwide. So that is CENTCOM, AFRICOM, SouthCom, NorthCom, INDOPACOM. And
They do. All those
excuse
regions
me.
have their own independent commands.
Yes, have their own independent commands that are all branches, unified in a way. There's talk of combining some of those commands. From what I've read, they're looking at possibly combining North and Southcom, so North America and South America. So that would be just an America's command. There's talk of combining Eurocom and AFRICOM. So bringing those together, that's a massive undertaking because you're removing 2 whole staffs, 4-star staffs.
Could that possibly be on the heels of early in this new term, Doge, and looking for government efficiency? If they just say, we can make this more efficient.
Yeah, it could be, and it's
okay.
It's a look at does Africa need its own
Right.
command structure?
So it's probably not space aliens.
No, No. Does North America need to have its own command structure, its own geographic combat command?
Yeah, and I think it's a reasonable question to ask. I couldn't even begin to fathom what it'd be like to answer that question, but I think it's reasonable to ask.
If I were a betting man, and I occasionally am, I would say it's a reorganization and a streamlining.
Yeah,
because
I'll take that bet.
There's certain places that we as the United States need to be focusing on.
Agreed.
Indo-PACOM is a big one.
Mhm.
China.
Couldn't agree more.
China, their 9 dotted line, if I recall it right, that is, I think, our biggest geopolitical issue. You have Russia and the death throes of Putin and Russia as an entity. I think that's what we're going through right now. And it's streamlining. Do we need to have 2 commands in the Americas? Why not just streamline it both? One combatant command can handle all of the Americas.
Yeah, I would agree.
Africa's not popping off as much as I think we thought it would, and a lot of the stuff we're doing in Africa is special operations work.
There's no ethnic cleansing I'm aware of going on there right now. I think that it's important because I listen.
So wrong, by the way. But
I think you're honestly, if I was a betting man, I think I would bet that you're probably right. However, not a betting man, history junkie, and I think history teaches us that our history as human beings it's very cyclical.
So they are going to discuss space aliens.
And not where I was going, Tom, but
okay.
But I can appreciate the sentiment.
Let me ask a question though, just from a logistical standpoint. How smart is it to get?
I'm the wrong guy about logistics.
Somewhere along the lines of 700, let's say 700 generals plus staff. How smart is it to get everybody in that tight of an area? Like, I saw the movie Sum of All Fears. It's actually a movie I saw. Congratulations.
Wow.
I saw the movie Sum of All Fears where they detonated a small nuclear device in a vending machine at a Baltimore Ravens football game.
26 years of radio, and I've never gotten to emphasis movies because he's never seen any of them. All of a sudden, this one movie.
Sum of All Fears.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if something happened at this event?
Yeah.
That would completely decapitate our military.
And security is going to be absolutely paramount here, which is, why from everything that I've read, this has been in the planning for months. And so it just got announced, probably because it's better for us to go through a couple of news cycles and talk about it instead of, holy crap, 700 generals just all of a sudden appeared in DC. So,
Yeah.
I mean, what throws up more of a red flag? The fact that it's announced that all of these generals are coming to one place, or if they all of a sudden show up and there's no announcement beforehand? I think the black helicopter tin hat folks would be a lot more freaked out if this all
I get
happened
your
without
point.
an
Yeah, I think that's
an
reasonable.
announcement. So,
I do. I think you've got a very, very valid point there. I cannot escape, however, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Right. And President Trump is going, he's going to the mattresses trying to end wars.
We're not talking about Stormy Daniels.
He's clearly a president that is more focused on peace than anything else. And that's fine, but I don't think that lasts forever. And I think we're seeing the Russian troop, which a lot of people aren't aware of. Russian troop buildup where? Belarus, just like they did prior to invading Ukraine. Now, I'm not saying what they're
violating
gonna do.
Polish airspace,
yes,
violating NATO airspace.
Yeah, and so you're seeing conditions that we had 3 years ago begin to show up again. I have not thought since day one of what occurred in Ukraine was just a Russian decision. I think that in a lot of ways, somebody's pulling the strings. I've been very public about that. I believe that it is Beijing, because they are still purchasing Russian oil. They are still funding the war for Russia.
Yeah.
And so are a lot of the European nations, by the way, still purchasing Russian gas, natural gas.
Well, they proposed a tariff, I think it was last week, which is a 500% tariff on all goods coming from
because
any
Trump
countries,
is trying to basically reiterate the point. You all want Putin to stop fighting, and you're the ones handing him the checkbook, right? So
you might just have to blow up an oil pipeline.
Hey, you know what? God bless them if they do.
Careful
It's
now.
not like they don't have practice at it. I mean, come on, people, who fucking blows up an oil pipeline after saying, well, we could do it? Anyway, my point is we all know that there's a bigger fish out there than Ukraine, right? And that's Taiwan. China knows that they can war game this out all day long. If they have a United States that is focused solely on an issue in the Taiwan Straits, they cannot beat the United States. We can get there fast enough. We can disrupt their plans because of the defense that Taiwan has set up around that island. However, if it's going to take us a week or more to get there and we're preoccupied in a place called Europe, it makes it much more difficult, if not improbable or unlikely, that we can get there and stop them.
Well, and if you look at West Taiwan building up their blue water navy, no one picked up on that. Okay.
West Taiwan or blue water navy?
West Taiwan.
Oh,
mainland China.
I mean, that's what I was hoping you meant, but I wasn't sure. I didn't want to laugh and seem like a.
But I think the biggest thing indicator there is the buildup of their blue water navy. We've seen, and this is all open source. We've seen them demonstrate.
You didn't get it off of War Thunder?
No, God. Stop posting things on the classified information on the War Thunder forum. Jeez. But they demonstrated a couple months ago some landing platforms that they had that basically ships drive up to the beach, put down pillars into the seafloor, jack themselves up, and then they run out a couple of 100 feet into the ocean to where they can pull up ships. So instead of having landing craft tanks or needing hovercraft, they're able to basically it's a new version of a Mulberry Harbor from D-Day.
Yeah, from World War II. Yeah.
Now, that being said, that's an awfully static target.
Yes.
And I know my fellow artillerymen, even though I'm no longer an artilleryman, my former Red Legs out there would be more than happy to do some target practice.
Right. Because you know that Taiwan already has 1,000 target reference points all over the place, right?
That island, they know how to defend it.
Right.
And Taiwan's not an easy fight.
Absolutely not. 100%.
It's incredibly mountainous and it's jungle. And we control the seas. China has never had a successful amphibious operation.
Except against the Filipinos.
I don't think China...
It's a joke. Did you see the video footage of the Chinese destroyer in the Philippines?
In the West Philippine Sea.
Sometimes
that's not
Paul's
an amphibious
jokes just go right over.
It's fine. It's late. But if you look at the Chinese military history, they only had one successful amphibious landing, and that was a crossing basically a wide river.
Yeah.
So crossing
Yangtze, I think.
No, it was something else when they were finally pushing the Republic of China off the mainland. But you have to cross the Taiwan Straits, which is not always calm. So you need perfect weather. You would need to have the logistical capability to organize all of this, while at the same time being under, 24/7 surveillance. It would be nigh impossible to make that crossing. And I'm not going to say that they won't attempt it, but it would be. We have 11 carriers.
Yeah, they won't do it now.
No.
See, that's Tom's point, which he has driven home, and I don't think necessarily Tom is wrong. I just like to drive home the point that I do think Beijing is pulling the strings and Russia's their puppet.
Right. Well, I've never said China isn't going to misbehave. They just won't militarily misbehave. If they import 80% of their food and 80% of their energy. If they fall under international sanctions, they're screwed.
And if we get back to what we talked about in the previous segment, right now their best offense is to create
havoc
in the West.
Yeah,
they're funding I can't prove this. Funding Iran.
That I firmly believe.
So, and we have the ascendancy.
We
have the ascendancy of Iran in Iraq.
Yep.
Right now, I predict that Iraq will be a client state of Iran in the next 10 years if things continue going the way they're going.
That would suck.
Is anybody else kind of disappointed that all that stuff with Israel and Iran just kind of came to a screeching halt?
Well,
I thought Israel was
B-2 bombers.
I'm not. Oh my God! I was the last night of the war. They were sirens would go off. I would go to bunkers.
He was in Israel.
Well, so the first half of the
During-
12-day war, I was in Tel Aviv.
It's got a name now. It's got a name. The 12-day war.
But you're talking recently, right?
In June.
In June. Okay, you were there.
Yes.
Okay.
That's why he was in the hotel.
I knew that he had been in Israel, but I didn't realize it was like in this most recent.
Yeah. So if you look at the Microsoft building, Microsoft has a headquarters in Tel Aviv, and it got hit towards the end of the war. The Ayatollah decided to uninstall Windows. My hotel was like 600 meters. I was like 600 meters from that. So they were intercepting Iranian missiles within 500 meters of where I was staying. But that last night of the war, I mean, the Iranians were just shooting off every like 45 minutes. So we'd get called to bunkers, go in the bunkers, go back to bed. You'd lay down for 5 minutes and the alarms would go off again. And that happened for about 6 hours.
Yeah.
It was not a fun.
You didn't just decide to stay in the bunker and try to nap in the bunker?
No. Yeah. I probably should. Well, because, hope upon hope that it's not going to go anymore. And then, of course, the Iranians shooting the rockets at Qatar.
Yeah.
That was, and they told us that they were going to do it. It was all a big PR stunt for back home, because the Middle East is still very strong, man. You have to, they have to say, look at what we did to the Americans, even though they said, hey, we got to save face. We're going to shoot at you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So, the Iranians are playing big over there, and I think they're backed by China.
But when I said, am I the only one who's disappointed that it didn't get dealt with? At some point, Iran's going to have to get
Dealt
bitch
with.
slapped, aren't they? I mean, at some point.
I agree.
I mean, and if Israel was I felt like they were on the precipice of finally deciding we've had enough. The funding of Hamas, the funding of Hezbollah, the incursion into Israel, the missile attacks, and all this stuff coming from the Houthi and the Blowfish rebels. Like at some point, Israel's
Hold on. Did you just call them Houthi and the Blowfish rebels?
Yeah, the Houthi and the Blowfish rebels. Oh. At some point, isn't Israel just going to have to say, this is where we draw the line, kick the crap out of them so they're finally done? Because the longer you leave them alone, the more havoc.
The Sunni states will get together with Israel.
You think so?
I know. Yes, I think so. There was a certain country over there that was about, if the war had lasted any longer, they're about ready to attack Iran.
But hold on. I want to come back to this.
Well, I got breaking news on the meeting.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
I want to follow up on this because I was under the impression, and you correct me, you're much more an expert on this than I am.
All right, Kevin, sit down.
I can't sit down. My back hurts.
I said correct you. I was just trying.
Shut up. I just play Call of Duty.
He said duty.
Duty. I was under the impression that a lot of the Gulf War nations, the Muslim Gulf War nation, Gulf states, thank you, were opposed to Israel at some level because of how they were handling Gaza, and that was creating friction between them actually supporting Israel because of the Gaza issue. Is that
so? Outwardly, they are going to say that, because I can tell you, I've been to the aid distribution command post outside of Gaza. There is 120% of the daily need being provided into Gaza.
Is that where all the Israeli soldiers are shooting and killing with sniper rifles all of the Gazan people?
No, that's in Gaza.
Okay, so they're just shooting them all in Gaza.
This facility is outside of Beersheba, if I recall, and we met with UN aid, met with a couple of UN organizations, met with USAID, met with a couple of the private organizations that are
trying to pass money off into your hands.
And
like, hey, when you get home, man,
and
make our job go better.
No, they are working their absolute hardest to provide aid into Gaza.
It was shade with a joke.
Yeah, you're being facetious. I get you. Yeah.
We're gonna buy him.
So you believe? So then you believe that Israel's not going to have to do it? That Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Qatar.
I think if it does happen, it's going to have to be not unilateral on Israel's part. I think it is going to be the other Arab states the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan, the Saudi Kingdom, and then the Trunkul states. So UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, possibly Kuwait, but Kuwait's in a little bit of an issue because they sit on the edge of Iraq, which is teetering on the Iranian sphere of influence, and so they have to play very close.
I think Kuwait would be a really shitty place to be right now.
Yeah. No, it's hot.
Well,
Sun's trying to kill you.
And then ideally, Israel wouldn't have to do anything, right? I mean, in the ideal scenario, then Israel could sit back, not stoke those anti-Muslim fears at all, and just let the Muslim nations deal with it themselves.
Yeah, I think they'd have to be involved, but I think they would be, much like we saw during the first Gulf War, they'd be on a defensive stance because Iran and any state that is supporting Iran is just going to start hurling everything they have at them.
Is Iran and Afghanistan on a even keel with each other? Are they supportive of each other? Or
I'm not sure about that. I should know whether or not Afghanistan is Sunni or Shia, and I don't. So you found something tonight that I don't
Google
know.
this. Hold on.
But they all fight each other. That's just the way it is over there.
So I want to add some strength to the point that
according
you
to
made earlier.
Uncle Google, Afghanistan is Sunni.
Okay. Yeah. So there might be some friction there.
So our president, the glorious God King Trump.
Oh God.
Wow. It's a joke. I don't mean that, people. I don't mean it.
He does, but it's okay.
He during a press conference this evening decided that he needed to give out some information about the meeting on Tuesday.
Okay.
He has made it clear he is attending so that he can tell the generals how great our military is doing.
Okay. It's a pep rally.
Hold on a
Such
second.
bad idea.
Hold on a second.
Such a bad
I got to do this.
It's such a bad idea.
Like, what are you doing, dude? Like, if there's one place Donald Trump does not belong, it is a meeting of all the generals.
Well,
if it were a military but I think I think that it goes to strengthen the point that you made about what you think the meeting is about. That is my point.
One could argue, though. I mean, he is the commander in chief.
Yeah, but my point goes back to Kevin's point earlier, right? Listen, that's too many high priority, too many high value targets in one place.
I totally agree with that. But
one well placed,
backpack
vial
nuke?
of biological agent, and
Hold on, we know that there are missing backpack nukes.
Yeah, but they've and by this point in time, those will have broken down.
Maybe,
probably won't.
But we don't know what's out there. Like, I'm supposed to go into office on Tuesday in a federal building. I'm not going to the office on Tuesday because I really, and again, maybe I'm jumping off a ledge, but I really believe that Tuesday could turn into something really catastrophic for this nation.
It could.
That because you're putting.
I hope you're wrong.
Like, the argument before would be, well, you could take out Trump in Congress, but all the military leaders are still in place around the world. So the nation would have some continuity. Our military would have continuity. You could literally take out every ounce of continuity and leadership all in one strike.
No,
there would still be continuity.
You'd still have, there would still be
go to your state governments.
You still have Congress, but you would lose military continuity.
Well, and you'd still have a vice president.
No, you would not lose military continuity.
You don't think so?
There's deputy commanders at every of these places who are involved in the planning process.
And
that's why they're the deputy commander. They are there to take over.
That's what makes our
in case
military
something
so
happens.
great.
But don't you think that there would be some level of
confusion? Sure.
I don't even want to say confusion, chaos, some level of holy crap, some level, you know what I mean? Like,
the United States military operates in chaos.
Okay.
Organized chaos.
Have you ever seen the
hurry up and wait?
Have you ever seen the quotes? They're fake, but it's from a German general, a Soviet general, and an American general about how the American military is organized. So the German general says it's incredibly hard to fight against the Americans because they pretty much do whatever they want. And then the Soviet general says we can't plan against the Americans because they have no inkling to follow their own doctrine. And the only way we can plan against them is by their doctrine. And we know they're not going to follow their doctrine. And then the American general says, if we don't know what we're doing, neither does the enemy.
Amen. 100%.
And you look back in history, and it is the thing that makes the American military so great and that's why we'll beat China, is we aren't designed to be in lockstep. That's a lot of what you're seeing in Russia, the Russian chain of command, and a lot of what we see with how the Chinese are organized is you follow orders and you don't do anything without taking a command to do it. The Germans developed it in the interwar years called mission orders, which is basically, hey, I want you to accomplish this task. I'm not going to tell you how to do it, or I'll maybe give you some parameters. Otherwise, go out and do it.
Yeah, you figure it out. And then that order is also disseminated down through the ranks so that the smallest private knows what the mission is and how to accomplish it.
And in the United States military, and honestly Western militaries, European militaries,
you can see the difference between Ukrainian and Russian militaries.
There is when in the absence of orders, find something and kill it. That is the modus operandi. That's why it's really bad to shoot an American officer, because you're dealing with 40 to 300 alcoholic athletes with automatic weapons. And the only person who cares about things like the laws of land warfare is the officer, because as the officer, we're the ones who go to jail if our guys break that. If you eliminate the only guy in that formation who cares about the laws of land warfare, you have alcoholic athletes with anger problems and automatic weapons who are now going to find the best way either the best or the most fun way to destroy you.
It's like taking out the person in charge of the daycare and then watching the toddlers.
Exactly.
It is. And if you want an idea of how the Chinese military would operate in a combat situation, one look need no further than how the North Koreans operated.
Yeah.
Because they operate under very similar doctrine. Like the only difference is that the Chinese have a lot more tech. But the Chinese don't even keep their rockets apparently fueled. So
I got a theory. Answer this for me. I got a theory.
That's a maintenance issue on their end.
I got a theory the Chinese wouldn't be nothing more than a road bump to us, because if I'm correct,
it's a big road bump because there's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them, but I think they've only got one deep sea carrier, right?
So
they'd be pretty pinned.
Currently, they have 2 capable blue water fleet carriers, but the one they bought from Russia is being used as a trainer. They have 2. I know for sure one is online. They're building a second one, and then the next they plan, I believe, 5 more in their Kato bars, so they don't have the jump jet on it, or the ski jump on the end of it. The problem they have is having aircraft that are capable of taking off and landing from these carriers that actually have munitions on them. So, because a lot of their stuff was based off Soviet, and if you look at the Admiral Krenitskov, I believe it is, a lot of the aircraft operating off of that aren't carrying full combat loads.
Okay.
So you do have an
issue.
issue
to do with lift and weight distribution, all that, right?
Yeah. You only have so much runway on a aircraft carrier. So now the Chinese are trying to get around that. They're rapidly developing so that they can be capable. But at the same time, it's going to take them 10, 15 years to match the Pacific Fleet.
Absolutely.
Not the United States Navy, just one of our fleets. So,
well, look, I freely admit I give Kevin a lot of shit about the United States Navy. I crack jokes at every opportunity.
You're a hateful human being.
I talk about how when folks in the Army got to go fight somewhere and die to defend this country and freedom and the American way of life, somebody has to take us. Like, I have no problem throwing shit at the United States Navy. But the truth is the United States Navy, in my opinion, is responsible for keeping this country safe more so than anybody else.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Agreed.
You were a journalist in the Navy, dude. You never did time on a surface ship.
That isn't true.
If you look at our sub forces, that's who's really going to win.
Are the sub forces the part of the U.S. Navy that nobody really accounts for?
I was on the Nimitz, you little bastard.
I know you did a story on the water filtration system. I know.
I hate you. Shut up. Go ahead, Paul. Asshole.
But in all seriousness, though, are the submarines like the out of sight, out of mind, like massive advantage that nobody, because they carry a shit ton of Tomahawk missiles.
Well,
with
we all think, when we think of United States submarines, we all think of the boomers,
yes,
the SSBNs and the SSGNs.
Yep.
We don't think about the attack boats,
right?
Of which we
At
have
all.
a considerable amount, and they are incredibly.
Tell people the difference.
So a SSBN, SSGN are designed to launch Trident missile, nuclear missiles. That's the
Trident is the
ICBM. That's
ICBM,
submarine launch,
intercontinental ballistic.
The GNs, they were converted ballistic missile submarines that are designed to vertically launch Tomahawk missiles. Attack boats are submarines that are designed to hunt other submarines and hunt other ships. And we have a lot of those, and very well trained crews.
Yeah,
and
they are
incredibly technologically advanced, and bring into that the AUKUS agreements, where we are providing the United Kingdom and the Australians with some of our attack boat technology that is then going to be domestically built in Australia and in the United Kingdom. But the Australian yards are the biggest. If any war ever goes off, we now have a forward projected yard in the Indo-PACOM theater that is able to produce and do large maintenance on atomic submarines.
So you're saying in Australia they've got the capabilities to repair our subs if they
They're going to have the capability to build nuclear powered attack submarines. So look up the AUKUS submarine.
Yeah, that's pretty badass.
So when we're talking about long range and things like this, like we're talking about with China, of them not really being a power to be able to take Taiwan in like 20 years, that's why we're talking these days about the AUKUS agreements, and why we beat out the French on providing nuclear submarines to the Australians.
Yeah.
So
a lot of stink was made over that one.
Don't trust the French. I can't talk about any more than that, but I can tell you don't trust the French.
Hold on, I'm going to go back to China. One more thing with China and Taiwan. You mentioned about doing a sea crossing and being able to send for. Would they even need to do that?
Yeah.
Or could they just light up Taiwan like a Christmas tree with missiles remotely, not even put
You
boots
have
on
to
the
put
ground?
boots on the ground.
Would you have to?
Yeah.
Because Taiwan's not huge.
Why
Couldn't
do they
just essentially level the place?
Why do you want to take Taiwan? If you're China, other than the fact of uniting China, why do you want to take Taiwan?
Semiconductors.
Yes.
But
If
wouldn't
you-
it all get lit up if you put ground troops in there as well? I mean,
Not necessarily.
No.
Taiwan has
less-
already said they'll scuttle the
Yeah.
semiconductor industry
yeah.
if they're invaded.
And I'm just thinking, if you invade, isn't an invasion going to lead to a destruction of commerce centers?
You try
and
and plan
factories
against.
and-
You try as a military planner. You try and plan against that.
Well, because you got to figure China knows what Taiwan would do. There's no way China doesn't have people already in place inside of Taiwan in the event of something happening.
They're already during COVID. They conducted massive information warfare campaigns.
Yeah.
In Taiwan, basically, there were a number of Chinese-controlled papers in Taiwan that were putting out to the rest of the world, mind you, while we were all on lockdown, that they were burning, that the Taiwanese had so many dead from COVID that they were burning bodies in the streets and they didn't have anywhere to bury all these, all completely false. But the Indians bought it. The Vietnamese bought it. A bunch of these other countries that are within the orbit of China right there, they all bought that. So they are preparing the battle space and have been for quite some time.
I mean, come on, let's be honest though, dude. 90% of the scam calls we get are people calling from Sector 7 in India.
They're not the brightest.
They're dumb.
But you got libertarian ilk to you, right?
Yeah.
So if China goes into Taiwan, do we get involved, or
Yes.
do we stay out of it?
Yes, we get involved. We have PACs, not political action committees, but we have
we have treaties.
Yeah, we have treaties. We have committed, not so much a treaty due to the recognition of Taiwan, but we have agreements that said we will defend Taiwan.
Yeah. Okay. I don't agree at all. But
wait, what?
If Puerto
You
Rico,
notice how he always waits to like the last 5 minutes of
But
an
listen,
episode when
if-
I'm on to
if
pull this stuff?
if Puerto Rico decided that they wanted to kick off from the U.S. and become their own nation, we would not want China to get involved in our business. We would say, this is our sphere, this is our part of the world, we're going to handle our business, you keep your noses out of it. Taiwan is literally a breakaway republic from China,
and should
handle
their own
That's not,
stuff.
So you don't.
That's not what
Okay.
China. Taiwan is not a breakaway republic from China. Taiwan is what's left of
the Republic of China.
The Republic of China. The
they-
freedom-loving Chinese that Chiang Kai-shek ran out.
Right.
Yeah.
But they were all part of China, and China just let them go to Taiwan.
They fought their way to get there.
I get it. I'm just listen. All I'm
You
saying,
racist bigot against
this
Taiwanese
racist
people.
big. Are you going to call me a brown shirt now?
God,
Whatever.
no, I'm not going to
So-
go that far. You blue shirt.
So you think that Taiwan should have been taken over by the communists in the 50s?
No, I'm not saying that they should or shouldn't have been. I'm saying it's not our fight. We can't fight in every one of these regional processes. We can't get involved.
Okay, Chamberlain.
Shut up. we can't
Peace
get
for our
involved.
time.
Well, but this is different than what Chamberlain did, right?
Oh, yeah, he signed a piece of paper.
No, Chamberlain allowed Hitler to go into other nations' borders.
Poland.
Right. Other nations' borders. We're not arguing about other nations. We're arguing about a part that was part of China that broke away from China in essentially a revolutionary act.
No.
From the
mainland China was conquered by the Chinese communists.
Yes.
Who killed
the
millions.
only place of the original China left is Taiwan.
It's Taiwan, right.
So your argument is the other way around. You're saying that Taiwan broke away from mainland China when really mainland China was conquered by the communists.
from Taiwan.
Right. But they're rebelling against what the current government of China is, right? I mean, the current government of China is communist. The communists took over the
current
entire
government
nation.
of China was the rebels. The power in China was Chiang Kai-shek, was the republic.
Right. Okay.
I
don't think we should be in Ukraine.
Saying? I'm not sure. I'm not convinced you are.
No, I understand what he's saying. He's saying I've got it backwards. He's saying that what's left in Taiwan was the original.
Yes.
And
the
your-
original ruling.
Your argument is that they're a breakaway, which is not.
The only reason I argue they're a breakaway is because mainland China changed its governmental structure. It became a new government. It became new rulers, new leaders, everything. They
changed by force.
Right. I get it.
It was a coup d'etat.
I get it. I'm only suggesting that Taiwan was part of China when that happened. So I don't understand the desire for the US to get involved when that is a Chinese coast culture political issue. We can't get involved in every single border war, which is really what this is.
See,
and the only vested interest we have in this is superconductors. That's literally it.
That's kind of a big freaking
But
deal.
we didn't get involved in South Sudan. We didn't.
They don't have superconductors.
That's my point exactly.
They don't have money either.
Yeah.
So I mean, Kevin, I agree with you that we don't need to get our nose into everything.
You see how I'm
but
this? Yeah.
We should stand behind our treaties. If we made agreements with someone, in this case Taiwan, we need to honor our agreement.
And I will go on this. What happens to American prestige if we allow China to take Taiwan? Not only so we've said we'd back up Taiwan. So if we allow the Chinese to cross that red line, how does that make us look?
No, I think you're right there.
I mean, we're no longer the hegemon. There are, China has come up to battle us for that title. But what does that look like to our ability to protect these countries?
Yeah. And I would agree. I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
And then
that
makes
also,
perfect sense.
What happens, and this is a little bit of domino theory, but if we'd let the Chinese take Taiwan, what's to stop them from taking the Philippines? What's to stop them from taking the West Philippine Sea?
Now, if I'm not mistaken, we have treaties with the Philippines too.
We do.
And we're building them back because they were under the Belt and Road up until 2 years ago. And then they saw what China was doing to everyone else and said, nope, we don't want a part of this.
Right.
So,
yeah.
And these countries need to take that into consideration because that program has literally allowed the Chinese to seize an entire port in Africa. I think it's Kenya.
Yeah.
I might be wrong.
And then, mind you, you also have Chinese fishing fleets fishing in Chilean waters.
Yeah.
So it's not just a Eastern or Western Pacific issue. It's an all of the Pacific issue, and they might spread into Indian waters.
And China has proven that they don't give two shits about territorial water.
No.
jurisdictions. They just bulldoze through them, and they basically tell people, "Yeah, stop us."
Yeah.
And nobody's in a position to do that. And listen, conflict is coming. It is because human nature is cyclical. Peace only lasts so long. I think that we have enough knowledge of our own history to know what reality is like.
Till the next solar spike.
Basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, cyclically speaking, unfortunately, we are due for a global conflict.
Correct.
Yeah. It just that's the sad
Those
nature of-
guys, have you guys heard? Maybe you've heard, there's a guy that wrote a book about the 4 cycles of humanity, and they go in 20-year cycles. And folks, look them up. You want to get the shit scared out of you, and not buy a Stephen King book. This book about the 20-year cycles will do it.
Well, it's 20-year, it's 80-year, and I think the other's like
quarters. So you have the 20-year quarters and then the 80-year. And how long
Yeah.
has it been since World War II?
The wrong amount of time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So
and then you can also tie levels of violence worldwide
absolutely
to solar activity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
solar and lunar, I think.
Primarily solar.
But
anyway, that's getting into some woo-woo shit.
It is
scientifically backed woo-woo.
You know,
but
you're married to a horsewoman too, so woo-woo shit's allowed.
Yeah.
All right. So
All
listen, we can't do football picks tonight.
Yes, we can. We have to do football picks really quick. We can't fall behind on it. We just can't because
No,
we'll
but
never catch
we
it.
can do them via.
We're not going to do them via email. I've already got Bueller's picks. We'll do ours really quick. We'll get out.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
All right. You ready?
Go.
Hold on.
Done.
Before we do that, Houston, thanks for coming in, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We should do this more often. We
Yeah,
really should.
I'd love to.
I mean, the stable stuff gets away from me because I know absolutely nothing about it. But this geopolitical stuff, I think, is immensely fascinating, and I think it's a really good conversation to have.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to.
We'll do it again.
To actually study up next time.
And if Paul ever can't be in studio, you can just come take his place.
Fantastic.
And so you can be our guest picker tonight. So we're gonna get done with this in just a couple minutes. You just got to pick winners and losers. That's all.
Are we
we're
going to
doing.
put him in here?
Yeah, let him be our guest picker.
Let's put him in. Hold on. I'll put him in.
Is this NFL or is this
NFL?
Okay.
Yep.
cool.
He just gives us
straight
the
pick.
game. Everybody picks the winners and losers.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can do that.
All right. Dennis, you got music for us? We will not talk about certain things today, including the fact that the Giants beat the Chargers, because I still don't understand how the hell that happened.
Because Drake May's a stud.
We'll have to talk about that next week. I have feedback on that one.
Do you?
Yeah.
I think the only reason they won is because the Giants started a new quarterback and nobody's got any film on him. That's all I think. But
I mean, that's kind of where I'm at too.
Yeah, I'm a better football player than Paul, so it's fine. All right, here we go. Thursday night football. Actually, let me recap week 4 really quick. Still 2 games to go. The Green Bay Dallas game ended in a tie.
Really?
Yeah, the Packers are in deep crap because they were supposed to be really good. They lost to Cleveland last week and they couldn't beat Dallas this week.
The
Dallas
hapless Cowboys.
Dallas is going to suck. They gave up 40 points to the Cowboys. And so.
You mean Green Bay?
No, Green Bay gave up 40 points to the Cowboys. Like, I don't know how you allow that
the
to
Cowboys gave up 40 points.
Well, they did too. The Cowboys gave up 40 points to Green Bay.
Oh, well, yeah.
That's why it's a tie.
Yeah. I didn't get to see the end of the game.
So the winner this week was actually Lori. If you want proof that the world's on his ear.
yeah. Lori barely.
Paul, Beeler, Dennis each had 8, along with the Vegas
But
odds.
I'm betting. I'm picking games right along with the Vegas.
And then everybody else had
line,
7. Everybody else had 7 correct. So the season
we still have 2
standings-
games to go.
Yeah, still 2 games to go. The season standings right now, Paul has a 1-point lead over me. Dennis is 3 back. Beeler is way behind.
Look at that shit, man. The Vegas line is 47 and Paul is at 47.
We're
Booyah!
lined up right with Vegas. Paul.
How's that bomb doing?
And I still don't bet money.
Heather is in second to last place.
Oh, am I right behind her?
No, you got 41. You're only 6 back of Paul.
Oh,
yeah.
All right, let's pick our games.
All right, week 5 games. Thursday night football. San Francisco goes to the Rams. Boy, the Niners look like crap today.
I love it.
Nothing makes me happier, but it does make me feel even worse about the Seahawks losing to them in week 1. Paul, who do you have?
San Francisco at LA.
At LA. And the Rams are favored by
I'm going to choose the Rams.
I'm going to pick the Rams as well, too. Tom?
Rams.
Dennis?
Rams.
All right. And Houston?
I'll be the outlier, San Francisco.
Perfect. Beeler picked San Fran as well. Sunday morning game, this one in London. Minnesota goes to Cleveland. I've decided Minnesota sucks, but Cleveland sucks more. I'm going to take Minnesota. Tom?
Give me Cleveland.
Beeler picked Cleveland. Dennis.
Minnesota.
Houston.
I'm going to go with Cleveland.
And Paul.
I think I have a friend who's going to be at that game.
Ooh, nice.
This is actually a tough one to pick. It would have been a lot easier before today's games, but I'm my gut's telling me Cleveland, but on paper Minnesota's a better team, so Minnesota.
Tom, your Las Vegas Raiders travel to Indianapolis to take on the Colts, who are favored.
Yeah, I'll take Colts.
Wow, I'm
I
surprised.
don't wanna, but I will.
Beeler picked the Colts. Dennis.
The Colts and who?
Colts
Raiders.
hosting the Raiders. Or as you call them, the Raid Turds.
Yes. Go ahead, go with the Colts, man. The Raiders blew it to Chicago today.
Yeah, I can't believe they lost to Chicago.
Houston.
I'm going to go with the Raiders.
I think that's a good pick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Paul?
I'm going with the Raiders as well. Ashton Genty is a stud.
Oh, he looks so good today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's great too, but I think Indianapolis wins.
Oh, wait, they're at Indianapolis.
they're at
I'm sorry,
Indy.
I take
They're
that back.
in Indy.
Change mine to Indy. Sorry.
All
If
right.
they were in
thought the Raiders
Vegas,
were-
I would have taken Vegas, but
All right. The New York Giants travel to New Orleans to take on the Aints.
Which might be a real shit-stained game of the week. Although,
I think it is.
Although New Orleans did not play bad today.
Brought to you by Karen Bolton. Beeler picked the Giants. Dennis?
The Giants at who?
At New Orleans. Tyler Shuck is the quarterback.
Giants.
Yeah, they're actually favored. Probably the only game this year they're going to be favored. Houston?
I'll go with Giants.
Paul?
I think this is a tough one. I'm gonna go with the Giants though.
Yeah,
I think Drake May might be something.
Drake May is not either one of these teams' quarterback. He's in New England.
No, who's the new quarterback
kid for the Giants?
For the Giants, what's his name? It's a
Dart.
short.
Dart. Is his
Dart.
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 Oh.
Jackson Dart.
Jackson
Thank
Dart.
you.
Yeah.
Yes, Dennis. Thank you. Jackson Dart.
All right. So you and I got the Giants as well. Tom?
I think. Give me my Saints.
God.
Tom will take the Taints.
Yep, my Saints.
Oh, when the Saints get beat again. All right. Dennis,
man, let the game play out.
Dallas at the New York Jets. Jets. Jets.
We'll go with the Cowboys.
Dallas is favored, by the way.
Are they really?
Yeah. Dennis picked them. They are favored. Houston. Who do you got?
Dallas.
Paul.
I think it's a good choice. Dallas.
Me too. Dallas. Tom.
Give me Dallas.
All right. Houston, you'll pick first.
Okay.
Denver travels to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. Ooh.
I'm going to go with Denver.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Mainly just to make some my Army friends mad.
Paul?
Philly.
Yeah, I got Philly as well. Tom?
Tom has Philly.
And Dennis?
Philadelphia.
Fair enough. All right, Paul, we're back to you to pick first.
Yeah.
Miami travels to Carolina. This is your other shit-stained game of the week.
It will be.
Well, I'm going to take Miami. I think Miami's the better team, although Carolina is they're there.
Yeah, Miami is favored. I'll go with the favored team. Tom?
I don't remember whoever's at home.
Yeah,
Who's at home?
Carolina's at home.
Okay, give me Carolina.
All right, Beeler picked Carolina as well. Dennis?
Heads Carolina, tails
Dolphins.
And Houston.
I'm going to go Dolphins.
All right, I'll pick first. Houston travels to Baltimore. This is a really hard game to pick because Lamar Jackson went out of today's game with a hamstring injury. We don't know the extent of it. Vegas has not released a line. Houston, meanwhile, has looked like crap. It's in Baltimore. I'm going to go with Baltimore. No, you know what? I'm going to go with Houston. God,
Call the
bless it.
tie, Kevin. Go for the extra points.
I'm going to go with. I'm going to take Houston, but I'm going to go with Baltimore. Tom.
Hang on, I got to get a coin out. Nah, give me Houston.
All right. Beeler picked Baltimore. Dennis.
That's right, Dennis.
That's a hard one. Isn't it?
Ravens.
Dennis's answer. That's his team.
It's so hard to pick because you don't know if Lamar is going to play or not. Houston
I'm going to go with Baltimore.
and Paul.
I'm going to go with Baltimore.
All right. Tom, you'll pick first. Tennessee at Arizona. Arizona is favored, and Tennessee looks like me on a blind date.
Tennessee.
Yeah, give me Arizona.
Dennis,
Arizona.
Houston,
Arizona.
Paul.
Arizona.
Beeler took Arizona as well, and so do I. All right. Tampa Bay at Seattle. We'll get to that one last. Detroit at Cincinnati. Beeler takes Detroit. Dennis, who do you got?
We'll go with the Lions.
Houston?
Detroit.
Paul?
Detroit.
Yeah, I got Detroit as well. And Tom?
I'm sorry. I'm chatting with F-Bomb right now. I didn't hear the picks.
Detroit at Cincinnati.
Oh, give me Detroit.
Yeah, if Joe Burrow was playing, I'd be a little more worried about it, but he's not. Washington at the Chargers. Dennis?
Chargers. We're going to make a comeback.
Do we have any idea when, what's his name, the quarterback in Washington, is even going to come back?
No idea.
Houston?
Cobra Commanders. I had to do that.
Touche.
And now you know. And knowing is half the battle. Paul?
The other half is violent.
I'm going with the Chargers.
Yeah, me too. Although you guys losing Joe Alt, your stud left tackle, is going to really hurt you.
Both of our starting tackles are out.
Yeah. Oh, freaking fabulous. Tom?
Yeah, I'll stick with the Bolts, though.
All I care about is that they hold on for this week. Win that game. I need the points, baby. Daddy
right.
needs a new pair of shoes.
Houston, New England, and Buffalo.
Buffalo.
Paul wants New England because he really likes May. Who do you got, Paul?
Buffalo.
Yeah, me too. Tom?
Buffalo.
Dennis?
The Bills.
All right. Paul?
Kevin?
Kansas City at Jacksonville.
Well, Jacksonville looked pretty dang good today. They ain't good enough to beat Kansas City, though. Not
You
by a
don't
long
think so? Kansas City has not been looking like Kansas City.
No,
Today
I
they
do
did, though.
not. I do not. Look,
Huh?
they played well today.
Today they look like the Kansas City of old.
Oh, I only caught a little bit of the game today.
I would wager they would have lost to Baltimore had Jackson not gotten hurt. But I still don't like Jacksonville at all, so I'll go with Kansas City. Tom?
I'm going to stick with my gut and go Jacksonville on this one.
Beeler picked Kansas City. Dennis?
Casey.
And Houston.
Taylor Swift's Kansas City.
Fucking one show. Couldn't get through one show without.
Are you a Swiftie, Houston?
No, no, I'm not.
Sure you're not.
Ever since I saw that cop doing like that whole routine in his car while he's driving on the road, and he's mouthing out to
You do that
Yes.
voice really well.
It was so eclectic. All right.
You know, Paul, the fact that you're a Swiftie is really going to help when you get back out on the single market again. Okay. Tampa Bay at Seattle.
I'll pop you in the face.
Tampa Bay at Seattle. I
might kill you, though.
I'm going to pick Seattle, but Tampa Bay scares me because they're one of those teams that could beat anybody on any given day. But Seattle's favorite. It's at home. I'll take Seattle. Tom?
Oh, Seattle.
Dennis?
Seattle.
Houston?
Seattle.
And Paul?
He's good.
I gotta think about this one. Fucking Seattle, dude. Like I'm not. No, I'm
But
not
you
thinking
have to
about
say
it.
it. You have to
I
say
said
it.
Seattle.
Okay, thank you. Tom, you double down.
Yes.
By the way, Houston, we pick a double down every week. Every week you pick one game that you want to double your points on. So you could pick a different result in the same game if you want to hedge your bets,
Which is what I do frequently.
and what Lori does all the time too.
Yeah.
So Tom, who will be your double down?
Give me my Seahawks. They did fine for me last time I doubled on them.
Fair enough. Dennis?
I'll go with my Bolts.
Bealers is Buffalo, by the way. Houston?
I'm going to go with the Cardinals with the Arizona game.
The
Yeah.
midget
choice.
quarterback? Great. Paul?
Good lord. The midget quarterback.
There's very few
Oh.
quarterbacks I hate more than
Um,
Kyler Murray, Skyler, whatever his name is, Murray.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Buffalo.
I'm going with Philadelphia. All right.
Don't follow my picks.
That's
went on vibes.
Look, man, I bet you get 8 or 9 games.
We'll
right.
see.
I bet.
I lost. We had a fantasy Six Nations going on when I was deployed, and I lost that.
Oh yeah,
that
I
tournament.
usually lose my ass on fantasy football, but it's still fun. Yeah. And Kevin F-Bomb says that she's got her picks on her desk. I will go check and see if those are for this week because she's been studying. Like she's.
I know she's all serious about this. I don't know why she's not in studio today. I thought
she's got to stop picking teams by the colors of their outfits, though.
Then actually, she's been digging into the stats and stuff.
Look, we have some people that pick weird games, right? Trojo only picks black quarterbacks. And F-Bomb only picks quarterbacks who look good in the colors they're wearing.
You guys don't really know about F-Bomb
And,
that well.
and here's how
No,
Beeler,
we're not married to her.
here's how Beeler picks quarterback or picks games. You ready?
She said it was by
Beeler
how
literally
nice
asked
their
the
asses
question:
looked in the-
who would win between a Ram and a 49er? Oh, a Ram would name the 49er. Rams win. Who would win between Minnesota and the Browns? Well, how do you beat a color? I'll pick Cleveland. I mean, that's how she picks the game.
They were named after a person. Maybe she should look that up.
She's just worried about a color. All
Okay.
right. All right. Let's do parting shots and get the heck out of here. Houston, thanks for coming in, man. This was fun.
Yeah.
I don't know why Paul talks so much smack about you.
Oh, shut up.
Like on last week's show.
Is this your final thought?
No. Last week's show, Paul was like, listen, guys, I just want to warn you. Houston's coming in. He's going to be a lame guest. He's not really going to have anything to add to the conversation, but I feel like I got to be nice to him because he's my neighbor. So let's just humor him. But I think you were great, man. I think.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
This fucking guy.
And you like how, I'm going to, next time you're around, I'm going to figure out something 5 minutes for the show to say.
Yeah.
Be like, why
Yeah.
are you doing this now?
every time?
Yeah.
We're two for two.
Yeah, let Ukraine burn and let Taiwan burn. That'll be that. Did Paul tell you I said we...
That's better than nuke Japan every 50 years just to remind him of what it's like.
I mean, I kind of agree with that.
Yeah, and I also
don't
said
touch the boats.
We should nuke We should nuke Scotland
You stop that.
because they let go of the Lockerbie bomb.
No, there's too many
have it
good
coming.
distilleries in Scotland. You knock that shit off.
and nuke France just to remind them that they're our bitches, not the other way around. All right. Any parting shots for you, Houston?
Yeah, just think critically when you read something online, and the French are not to be trusted.
Exactly. And how do they find more information on Save Our Stables?
Save Our Stables on Facebook and saveourstables.com.
Perfect. All right, buddy. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Dennis, parting shots, my friend.
Cooperative for Kids, October 16th, next funny night out at the Traceton Movie House.
Oh, what are they doing that night?
Oh, Bruce DeTore is the
Bruce
headline.
DeTore, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Bruce is a funny guy.
Hold on. I'm going to check the chat, see if we have any comments in here. John Walker says, Kevin, where do you get your inside NFL info? I'll never tell. Alicia said he did not say that. I have Alicia's parting shot. I'll read that in just a second. Looking to see if there's anything else in chat we need to scurry over here really quick.
I'll go while we're waiting for you.
No,
to
Tom
look
can
at chat.
go. Tom can go. You're always second to last, Paul. Go ahead, Tom.
I mean, I'm first loser.
Yeah.
If you ain't first, you're last.
Hey, so the 18th of this month, I'm going to be a guest on anyone who knows Tommy DeBoard. He's the host of Tommy's Story Hour.
Mm-hmm.
But on the 18th, right around 2:30, I'm going to be a guest on his podcast. I have no idea what we're going to be talking about, but Tommy's a cool guy. He does some really great stuff for our special needs community, and I'd say check it out. Take a peek.
Make sure you post the link for us.
I will do that.
Yeah, we'll share that on the Outlaw page.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, I have the following parting shot from Beeler, and I quote, I am sorry I could not be on the show tonight. Kevin makes me feel tingly in all my private places. I'll be back next week. Thank you, Alicia. I appreciate that. Paul?
Good thing there's a late night show.
That's right. Tingly in my happy places.
I got nothing there, man.
Good.
Nothing. Anyway,
tingly in my happy place.
Parting shots. Okay. Life is too short to live it full of anger and fear and hatred. Find a way past it. Be a better person and live your life according to whatever your own code is, and stick to it.
What's the Hammurabi code?
Do you know what that is?
The Hammurabi Code? No,
Yeah,
they were the Hammurabi is where they found the apocryphal text, the non-canonized text of the Bible.
Okay, I thought I heard something called the Hammurabi.
No, there's the Code of Hammurabi. I do not remember all of its details.
You said code, and that leapt into my brain. I don't know why. All right. My parting shots is, so I had the opportunity to do jury duty for a little bit over the last couple of weeks.
I'm so sorry.
I loved it, man. I wanted to do it. I wanted like the inside kind of feel for how the process works. And
did you get seated?
Well, no, because here's what happened. They started out with 60 freaking jurors. They got us down to about 30. And then they realized there was an issue with scheduling for all the witnesses. So then they discharged all of us, and they're going to have to start back over from scratch.
Have you ever been seated?
No. No, that's why I wanted to do this so bad.
I have once, and it
interesting.
It depends on the case, I guess. I mean, I
would
would
get into a good case, right?
Yeah, no, I was on a DUI case.
Yeah, this was going to be an assault case.
Oh,
A threat and
that
an
would
assault.
probably be more interesting.
I'm allowed to talk about it, by the way. The judge said I could because they disbanded the jury. But I just wanted to give some shout outs to all the folks down at the courthouse that coordinate all the stuff behind the scenes. It really is like herding cats. And really nice people, really accommodating, really clear on instructions. I'm sorry I didn't get to do it, and hope I get to do one next year, because I can't be drawn again till next calendar year.
Right.
Yeah. So that's all I got. We'll see you guys again on watch our page on Saturday the 18th for Tom. We'll share that link, and watch us on the show next week. We'll see if Beeler can handle funny feeling in our happy places, and then she'll come back. And if not, yeah.
Funny feeling in her happy.
She told you you're number one.
I know she did.
Yeah.
Tegan, I'm not even going to talk about the guy whose body was found, because I don't believe he deserves to be talked about. If we're going to talk about him, we can talk about the 3 girls, that his 3 daughters that he murdered, but I'm not talking about.
Did they use DNA to identify the body?
They have,
Because
yes.
last I heard that was the point they were at.
I believe they have positively identified the body. I don't know if it was
Good,
by
good.
DNA or by dental records, but they have announced that.
I don't care how, as long as they identified it and the search form is over.
Yeah, all done. All right, guys, we love you. We appreciate you. We'll see you guys next week. This has been the Outlaw Radio Network.
Tschüss, bis später, adios, muchachos.
Can you speak English?
I'll
English, please.
Voulez-vous coucher avec moi? C'est ce que c'est. Oui.
I don't know what that means. Good night, everybody.
It's the Outlaw Radio Network. 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 It's the Outlaw